to the QEO. It is senior grand final time. Gisborne and Sandhurst. It's been the theme of the day here on Footy Fresh, where local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. And Sandhurst so far have won the under-18s and the reserves, but the Bulldogs will be out to get the senior team over the line. And this promises to be an absolute cracking game. The two clear best sides across the season will do battle on a perfect day for footy. It is very sunny here at the QEO. The crowd has showed up to get behind this big game. Both teams are out on the ground as well. Cam Power here with you. Joining me here in the broadcast this afternoon is John Hunter. Good afternoon to you, John Hunter.
Good afternoon.
And looking forward to this big game.
Oh, yes, Cam. It's what we've built up for all season, isn't it? Football sides do it and supporters do it, and we do as well. So really looking forward to seeing the two best sides all year going battle face-to-face, head-to-head, and just can't wait to see who ends up premiers for season 2024.
Well, they've played 3 times this year. In the regular season, they split the games 1-1, and in the final 2 weeks ago, it was Gisborne that got a comfortable win over Sandhurst. So looking to see if Sandhurst can overturn that one from 2 weeks ago. Joining us up here again is Jason Stevens. Good afternoon to you, Jason. Good to have you back for another week and all ready for a big grand final.
Thanks, Cam. Happy to be here. Hey, Johnny. Beautiful day for footy. Less clouds, less wind at this point in time. Hopefully it stays that way, and the QEO looks immaculate, which is fantastic for September.
And not only will you be keeping a close eye on the footy here, you've also got an affiliation as the girls out there in the green and white of Kangaroo Flat are playing in the A-grade netball as well, Jace.
It always looks good, the green and white in September, Cam, here at the QEO. It looks nice, sort of stands out, pretty vibrant colour out there, so I'm wishing the girls all the best over there at the netball courts today. They're had a good week on the track. It's stayed on the track for a netball team. It's on the court. I probably should say on the court. But yeah, had a good week, and certainly the atmosphere was really good Thursday night at the footy club, so I wish them well. So one change for Gisborne as well, Johnny, from their side that took to the park 2 weeks ago in the qualifying final. Unfortunately, Shane Clough, we all know the injury that he sustained in that game. He is not out. But Pat Trotter was named. He goes out as well, so it is Jared Lynch to come in to replace him. Of course, Jared Lynch, 210 games for the Gisborne Bulldogs. Made a return last week in the reserves, and he got through, so he gets his chance back into the side today. He's a huge inclusion for them.
Yeah, only makes them stronger, Jace, really, to have a player of that calibre come in. A few whispers around about Sandhurst, whether they'll be fully fit. We know Kerno missed last week with a knee, and some conjecture about Tardrew, whether or not he's got a soft tissue injury, which might test him out if he starts in the middle of the QEO, because it's pretty rock hard.
Yeah, it is, and we'd hope we see him in the middle today. Obviously, it looked like he was carrying something last week, but by all accounts, it sounds like it's no worse than what it was in the preliminary final, so I hope we see him a little bit more in the midfield. And look, there's matchups all over the ground that are really competitive from backline to forward line for both teams, so really looking forward to it.
We are. We're only moments away from the national anthems and the pre-game ceremony getting underway. It's a pretty good crowd in here, and the rain looks like it's held off as well, Jace, so that should be a promising sign for what brings. And it looks like a pretty good crowd building down there to the left-hand pocket.
Yeah, there is plenty of crowd around the grandstand and even over towards the netball court to the ground. There's the crowd is starting to thicken up pretty nice, so it's should have a pretty good contest.
Now, we were talking about before about Gisborne using the home rooms as maybe a bit of a mind games. Is this also a bit of mind games going on here, that they were pretty much lined up for the anthem? Sandhurst have come over, now they've gone back over to warm up again. Is that something, am I reading a little bit too much into that?
No, you're not. It's always mind games. It's I think it's interesting that Gisborne have got their girls and their senior boys in, so they just wanted to make sure it was balanced out and they were on the right side. But yeah, plenty of mind games with selecting the Sandhurst rooms from the Gisborne guys, so that's an interesting move.
Yeah, I like it, the gamesmanship. I don't like it when they carry on with this stuff about non-selection and selection of players, because ultimately pretty early in the day you know who is playing and who's not playing. So, but that other stuff, particularly, that's I won't say it's a genius stroke, but to make sure that Sandhurst are not in their comfort zone, just to put them out, because let's be honest, a 1% difference in your attitude and your mindset and fitness and all of those things could mean the difference between a grand final and not.
So we're looking at like to head down to the pre-game ceremony. We've got the Gisborne netball girls up against the Kangaroo Flat netball girls as well in A-grade netball, and of course in senior footy it is Sandhurst and Gisborne. Master of ceremonies is Benny Jones.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Queen Elizabeth Global for the 2024 Bendigo Football Netball League Grand Final in both the football and of course the A-grade netball. The Bendigo Football Netball League respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of all the lands and waters on which we train and play. We pay respect to their elders, past, present and future. So now, if you're able, could you please be upstanding as we observe the national anthem? Thank you. Good luck to all our players and officials in their respective platforms.
Excellent, they know it is just about game time then. The whole Bendigo Football Netball League season comes down to what happens in the next 3 hours. Jason Stevens, how do you see this game playing out? Who do you think wins it and why?
Well, first of all, Cam, it's not only the players, the netballers and footballers that go through that. That's certainly, you know, you stand up here in the commentary box and you can feel it as well. It's a different day. It's a big occasion. But both these teams have been here, done this before. They've been part of these big contests. I give Sandhurst an opportunity. I think they're well and truly in this fight. It's going to be an interesting game. If they can replicate the footy they played in the last quarter last week in the preliminary final, if they could start that way, I certainly give them a big shot in this game. But Gisborne are in good nick, and as we sort of said in the pre-game just before, Jared Lynch coming into the side is only a luxury, isn't it, to bring in a player that's played over 200 games of Bendigo footy to drop into the senior side. You
got your fan club down there, Jace.
Yeah, it is.
Just the loyal Kangaroo Flag people, mate. We're always talking to each other. That's nice.
So the Gisborne midfielders are now heading into the middle of the ground. Of course, they're the home team today, so they've dominated the home rooms. They get to go out there and just going to run through some stuff in the middle of the ground as well. John Hunter. I've got the 3 Mickelson medal winners this year all out there as well.
Well, it seems like there's more Mickelson medal winners out there than there's not, and I've also got Michael Van Dorsen at ground level. We'll throw to him very, very shortly, Cam, but into the middle, not far away from the toss of the coin. And Jason, I mentioned a couple of potential injuries. As a coach, do you go into a grand final with potential injuries, or when it comes down to it, is it too hard just to simply leave them out?
Depends on the player a lot of the time, and we were reflecting sort of off air before. We know of occasions where it hasn't worked. We know of a few occasions where it has worked as well. So I think it's unfortunately with coaching, learned an early lesson myself that you can't treat everyone equally. There is some differences amongst your group, and it depends on the player. So today with Lockie Tadra, we know that he's carrying a calf injury is what we're estimating it is. He's in that equation. I'd probably pick him like they have done.
One thing that the Gisborne Bulldogs are doing today, which I think is absolutely brilliant, is we know what happened with Shane Clough in the final 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, he's out with a broken jaw. They hung his jumper up in the rooms pre-game, and he's now having his jumper hung up on the bench just in front of us as well. So he is definitely there. He's down there as well, and he's also talking in very good spirits after. We know what happened a couple of weeks ago. We won't go into that, but a terrific gesture from the Gisborne Bulldogs.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? That's fantastic to see. That's what clubs are all about. That's unfortunately he'll be feeling it today, and really would love to be out there. But to have his teammates and his club recognise him in that way, it shows the quality of the Gisborne Footy Club.
And joining us as well, down on ground level, he's out there on the ground. It's Michael Van Dorsen. Good afternoon to you, Michael. What's the conditions like out there?
Afternoon, guys. It's absolutely fantastic down the ground level. The wind is blowing a little bit, but I tell you what, the conditions are perfect, and dare I say it, guys, that it's actually springtime weather out in the middle of the oval at the moment.
Is it a little bit hard underfoot out there, just where the centre wicket usually would be?
Yeah, it's definitely dried out after this morning's couple of games, and it's definitely exciting to see. I'd be saying probably what if we're talking footy in horse racing parlance, it'd be a hard 5 or so.
And you're also looking out there at what the crowd is like around the ground. Looks like it's starting to really build.
Yeah, good crowd around. Great crowd. The grandstand's completely full, pretty much. There's barely a seat out there. So this looking like it's going to be an absolute ripping day, ripping grand final between these two quality sides.
And who do you see winning today, Michael?
I'm going to stick with Sandhurst. They've won the first two, much to some people's thoughts that we're going to go different ways. I think this one will be a lot closer than the first two games today, but I'm going to stick with Sandhurst.
Looking forward to having you down there on ground level. Michael Van Dorsen will cross to you very shortly for the toss of the coin. How do you see it in terms of some of these big matchups with your coach's hat on today, Jason Stevens? Who do you think's going to get the job on Fergus Green? Who do you think's going to get the job on Pat McKenna? How do you see it playing out? And then, of course, Lockie Tardew, does he go one-on-one with Benaki, or does he try not to do that with what we're hearing? Or how do you see it playing out?
I'll go backwards and we'll start midfield and go to the other matchups after that, Cam. But certainly midfield, I think they both go head-to-head. I don't think we see too many negative matchups as far as the midfields go. I don't think I've watched both sides a number of times this year, and I haven't seen that negative mindset in the mids too often. I think we might see a little bit, I've just got a bit of a hunch, I think we might see a little bit of a change with the Sandhurst line up forward. I think we could see Fergus Green come up and around the ground a little bit more. I'm certainly thinking about it off air and coming in today. I think that's a bit of a wild card that Sandhurst could play. They could move Ferg up the ground a little bit more in his difficult matchup, and we know that there is other goal kicking options for Sandhurst that can get back there as well. Certainly Vescovi from Gisborne will be one of those lockdown players in that defensive set, and just looking out here, Speary warming up sort of across half-back as well, could lock down quite easily as well if need be. So good matchups at that end, and you know, the McKenna matchup from Sandhurst, that's a difficult matchup. That's I think I've mentioned this on here before. I have nightmares about Pat McKenna at times, being from the Kangaroo Flat side of things. I remember kicking 9 goals at the graveyard one day against me as the senior coach and our team as the senior coach. If he gets going, he's a difficult matchup for anybody. I'll be really interested to see how.
Just got the feeling on it that it might be a day today that he absolutely explodes in these conditions. I feel like going with the ball movement inside forward 50 is going to be a big key for this game.
Yeah, as he lines up for us, it's directly in front of our commentary box here. He's having set shots from around about 50. He looks in ripping condition too. He's shorter hair too today.
The other thing that's of note is Bryce Kerno having set shots at the other end. Maybe we might see him playing a little bit more forward. Down to you, Michael Van Dorsen, for the toss of the coin.
Yeah, both captains are here in Lockie Tardew and also Jack Reaper, and it is Lockie Tardew winning the toss, and he's going to kick to the screen right of your radio dial towards the town end, boys. So it's going to be on in just a few moments.
And I'm also looking at those trees, and maybe your shirt fluttering around it. There is a bit of breeze picked up in the last few moments.
Thanks very much for noticing the shirt fluttering. Yes, there is. The breeze has picked up a few knots, I suppose you could say. It's probably a couple of going to the town end as per normal, but it's going to be, it'll gust up occasionally as well, especially considering there's not much covering it from next to the grandstand on the other side.
Looking forward to your comments down there on ground level. Always a good insight on grand final day, but not only for the players out there today, Johnny, there's also 2 milestones on the umpire side of things. Jack Anderson and David Carter are umpiring their first senior grand final, and they are doing so with the experienced John Norton.
And you're also commentating your first senior grand final, so congratulations, Cam. Go well today. It's all about the people, and it's all about the contributions that everyone has made. I'll be looking forward to watching Zach Dennehy today. I think he kicked 3 goals in 3 minutes a couple of weeks ago and absolutely tore the game apart. So he is a player to watch for my point of view, Jason. Really, really good, really strong.
Tipping him for a medal?
Oh no, just a 5-minute period that rips them apart again. So we're not far away from the start of this big game, the grand final, the culmination of a season. It has all come down to this. Gisborne have marched through to the grand final. Sandhurst have had to use their second choice this afternoon, but it doesn't matter. They're here in what is the final game of season 2024 at the home of country football, the Queen Elizabeth Oval. John Hunter, Cam Power, Jason Stevens and Michael Van Dorsen. Grand final, local football lives at Fresh Bendigo. To take you away for the opening term, here's Cam Power.
Yes, certainly looking forward to this one. And Bryce Kerno straight into it in the middle of the ground as well. So a little bit of push and shove going on early. He's going to line up forward, which I find fascinating. He obviously missed last week's game due to an injury, but he goes straight down onto the matchup with Reaper. So that's a battle I'm really looking forward to. Maxted and Dennehy are also matched up down there. That's another battle I'm really looking forward to. But in the ruck, it'll be Braden Blake going up into the ruck for Gisborne against Sexton. We'll call Sexton with the first hit down, and we're underway in the grand final. Paddled forward for the Dragons in the Coghlan direction, but it comes out to Gray. Gray to spear, is dealt with after he kicked it. High ball down the grandstand side wing, comes out for the Dogs. It works its way back into the hands of Gray. He'll send it inside forward 50. Bouncing ball in the direction of Luxmore, bounced over his head to Wilkinson, who was pounced upon as soon as he received the footy. Umpire calls it to play on, and it'll hit the bottom of the pack. They'll all dive on top of it, but it's a good hot start early. We're less than a minute into this grand final.
It's in the forward pockets here, Barnard Street End, in the shadows of the South Bendigo social rooms. You'd be disappointed if I didn't say it, Cam. It's Tardru who just swooped on that football from the throw-in, but it's a poor kick. Turnover now. Dogs 70 metres from home. It'll be a long kick in by Gray. Gray will go to the hot spot, still 40 metres out from goal, pinging around, picked up there by Tardru, a high up and under left. He'll go to the swing pool side. Good strong mark by the Dogs, and the mark's been taken by Liam Spear.
Now Liam Spear, a couple of early disposals for him. Going to slow things down. It's a big crowd in here at the QEO, and they're still filtering in as well. He sends it out towards the race on the far side. Poolside mark is taken for Gisborne. 60 out from goal. They'll look to quickly get it going inside forward 50. Needs a fly. Dennehy comes from behind, but standing in the hole, taking a terrific mark for the Dragons will be Lockie Wright.
So Wright with the footy, no scoreboard pressure at the moment. We're 90 seconds into this Bendigo Football Grand Final of 2024. Short pass. Hits up rough. Looks like he's sporting a mo this week. It's taken a couple of weeks to build. Isaac Ruff now. Beyond 50, swimming pool side. Little push by Sexton that'll be paid to Blake. He was Blake conscious then and gets a free kick.
Noticeably out here too, guys, that Sandhurst have got Curnow the deepest forward, so that's allowed Fergus Green to get up a little bit higher, so I'll be interested to watch how that plays out throughout the day.
Blake goes backwards to Vescovi. Vescovi on centre wing, pool side, can come back across the line to Reaper if he wants, decides to go further down the line. Needs a flight, spills to the back of the pack. Cooper Smith for Sandhurst will emerge. He'll send it up the line, but it's straight to Gisborne. Turnover kick. They'll come back in through the middle of the ground.
It's Normington with the footy. Defensive side of centre wing. Swimming pool side. No score on the board here. Dogs in possession. Spreads it wide. Hits Dylan Johnson. Johnson with the footy for the Dogs. Short pass on the left, 30 metres forward. Hits Cardillo. Cardillo dishes it off now. Handball. Long ball in. Gisborne in attack now. Noah Walsh swoops on it. Turnover. Handball sweeps it wide. Tardru getting a lot of the footy at the moment. Gives it back to Walsh. They're under pressure here, Dragons. Push it towards the boundary line. They do. And it's a whistle and a ball in, 70 from home. No score on the board, 3 gone, opening turn.
You're right, John. It looks like the Sandhurst midfielders are getting better at that contest at the moment. So Tardru and Walsh seem to have had a fair bit of the footy. The Gisborne mids probably need to lift here a little bit, although it is in their end.
Throw in. Blake and Sexton. Blake won it, but it was stolen by Tardru. Handball forward to Ureta. Ureta got it out wide to Helper, who just emerged his way through with a handball, went looking for Walsh, and it goes over the boundary line for a boundary throw in. Centre wing position, pool side, and it's a sea of red, white and blue hoodies out there right behind the ground. Plenty of Gisborne support in today here at the QEO.
No score on the board. This first quarter is sponsored by Rural and Outdoors in Castlemaine. The Bendigo Football Netball Grand Final season 2024. Blake wins it, gives it to Johnson, sharing it around. Benaki to Lakey. Lakey spreads it wide. They're just racking up possessions here. The Dogs. Ball is with Gray. Short pass. Did it go the required distance? It did. Lakey's out now. He's on half forward. Short pass forward. McKenna hits him up. 50 from goal, and the first shot at goal will go to Gisborne to the Barnard Street end.
Those mids from Gisborne, Lakey with the footy there at the end of it, Benaki that started it. That's what we were just asking for. Sandhurst mids seemed like they started the game really well, but that's the Gisborne boys starting to get on top now.
Say's kicking against a pretty strong breeze. Directly in front. He'll kick it at the paint mark of 50. Short pass. He didn't think he had the distance. It was a poor... Well, in fact, it was good. Benaki, a diving catch. Slips catch at the second slip. And at 45-degree angle now, and the distance won't be a problem now. He's only 35 from goal.
Yeah, no, he'll make the distance here without a problem at all. And that's poor checking from Sandhurst. That's a mid that's got off the chain there in that zone, and a noted goal-kicking mid as well.
Let's see what he does with the footy. Takes his time for the first of the afternoon in the grand final of the Bendigo Football Netball League. Kicks through the footy. He doesn't like it off the boot. Spreads wide. It won't even score. It might be a mark, a juggling mark, and it's Tatardru of the Dragons, who's for an injured player is racking them up pretty quick.
No, it actually crossed the line for a minor score, Johnny.
Minor score, 1 behind Gisborne. Sandhurst yet to score 5 gone opening turn.
So Free will bring the ball back into play for Sandhurst. He'll run down the line. He'll send it down the pool side wing, the grandstand side wing to Connick. Kicks that nicely for him. Connick will go further forward to Maxted, who's got away from Dennehy. He marks, accelerates away. End-to-end footy this from the Dragons. He goes in the Fergus Green direction. He used his body, but he dropped the mark, did Fergus. Handball's back to Eureka. Eureka snaps the first goal in the grand final. In just his 5th senior game for Sandhurst this year, Dayton Eureka's got the first of the grand final. 1 straight 6, no score Gisborne. Score sponsor Parsons Towings, Castlemaine. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
It's the first opportunity in the forward 50, and they look really dangerous with that mix that they've got there today. That's Eureka again coming from the midfield group that kicked the goal in the end, but on the ground level, they look pretty dangerous in that forward 50 setup, Sandhurst.
Back into the middle for the restart. 5-point margin. The Dragons are in front. Umpire Carter will ball it up. It'll be Blake, the joint Nicholson medal winner. Sexton jumped high and jumped early. He won the tap. He put it down the throat of Coughlin, but he fumbled. Benaki, he swooped on the footy. Now it's the Dogs to half forward. Burke, the recipient of the Dogs. A left footer. It's awkward spinning ball inside forward 50. Isaac Ruff floats in front of the pack and takes a mark, saving mark, and he'll clear it for the Dragons.
So Ruff's going to alert down the poolside wing. He finds Jimmy Coughlin, who's just out of defensive 50. He's had a bit of it early as well. Goes further down the line, does Coughlin. Sexton flew up, couldn't quite take the mark. The ball's kept in, and eventually it's knocked over for a boundary line throw in. Again, centre wing position. Full side of the QEO, 5-point lead to the Sandhurst Dragons. We've played 7 minutes in the opening quarter of the grand final for 2024.
Umpire will throw it in. Got to be Blake against Sexton. Sexton's got a big job this afternoon for the Dragons. Uses his body well. He's probably got the position. He might have got one around the neck. Umpire let it go. Eureka swoops on the football. He might have got one too high. Good umpiring, Umpire Carter. Blows his whistle and says, give it to me and it'll be a ball up.
Just one to watch as we go through the game too. That's 2 intercept marks for the Sandhurst team. That's right and rough. They've taken a couple of really quality intercept marks. Be interested to watch how that plays out.
So ball goes up, comes back down again. We'll have a repeat stoppage in the same position on the far wing. Healthy crowd in attendance. Getting to the front, knocking it down there was Scanlon, who's got into the ruck for Gisborne. Straight down to the congestion, handball out of there. Kept alive. Now they'll work it forward here, the Dogs. It'll come from Ainsworth. He sends it inside forward 50. Getting back is Lockie Wright to take an intercept mark for Sandhurst.
Deep in his defensive pocket. Barnard Street in. He'll look to take it down the swimming pool side. Umpire says play on. He kicks it short. It's effective to Hood. Hood's got time and space in the defensive arc now for the Dragons. He'll come into the middle. Doesn't pick out anyone in particular. It's going to be a contested ball in the middle now. Good, strong work. Dogs will cause a turnover here. But Eureka, he's got other ideas. They dive in after the footy. Holds it up, the Dragons. And that's probably a good result on centre wing out of side.
There's a lot of open space on the QEO out there too today, which is that's going to need to be tightened up when the opposition have the football. Just wonder if that might play a factor later in the game. Tardru to Wilkinson, who was tackled straight away. Benaki tried to emerge with the footy. He was pounced on by Stagg. So that might be the matchup there, Stagg on Benaki. We'll have a repeat ball up. Pine Carter in his first senior grand final will loft the ball in the air. Scanlon in the ruck, lost it out, knocked forward Sexton. Straight back down to the ground, and we'll have another ball up, see if we can get us out of this one, Johnny, but it's a good start early.
This opening term is brought to you by Rural and Outdoors in Castlemaine. We're 9 minutes in. Dragons by 5 points. The Dogs feel like they've been doing all the attacking but haven't been able to convert. Coughlin wins the footy, a hard footy on the left, underground ball. Tried to find Eureka. Stagg, he's at the bottom of the pack, flicks it out. Good strong tackling, taking possession over on the other side. In fact, umpire Carter lets it go. In fact, now he doesn't. Blows his whistle. It'll be a free kick for a hole, and it'll go to the Dogs.
Lucky there, Gisborne. They had weighted numbers and almost messed that one right up. So that's lucky they get the free kick there.
So it'll be a ball for Gisborne. Cross half back. I'll chip the short pass. It'll be marked by Lakey. Come forward, Gisborne. Lakey's going to slow things down. Moving on ahead of the footy. Down the line he goes. Big pack of players fly, and no mark taken out of bounds for a boundary throw in.
Out of side, a little bit of a lull in play. 10 minutes gone. Opening term in the grand final of season 2024. Gisborne up against the Dragons. Doing the ruck work will be Scanlon for the Dogs. Sexton wins the tap. Overrun the footy there was Shapano for the Dogs. Up against the boundary line, over it goes, and across half forward to be a ball in. Michael Van Dorser at ground level.
Boys, I don't know how you're seeing the Gisborne matchups at the moment, but the runner has been out more times than the bins go out on a weekly basis to some of the players out there at the moment for Gisborne.
Plenty happening down there. Back into the Gisborne side. Jared Lynch gets forward, handballs it out. Carraher tried to emerge with the footy for Sandhurst, and he just runs straight for the boundary line, takes the contact and goes over for a boundary throw in. Any interesting matchups you're spotting, Michael?
Nothing at this point in time, boys, but I'm just wondering whether or not whether they're trying to work it all out and trying to figure out what their matchups are supposed to be.
So it'll be the Dogs who win it through the middle. Shapano got on the end. In fact, it was Johnson getting involved, and there's a whistle on play. Might be 2 hold. Dogs get another free kick just forward of centre to the Barnard Street end. It's Benaki with the footy. Brad Benaki now. He'll kick it long. Inside forward 50. McKenna is the target. Oh, he got a lot off that ball. Just didn't quite drag it in. Now it's Stagg who picks it up for the Dragons. He's 40 away from his defensive goal, Barnard Street end. Stoppage and a ball up. 5-point margin. Dragons have this one under control just at the moment. 11.5 gone. Opening turn.
Stagg taking a little bit of time to get up down there on ground level. Looks a bit sore.
Just on that matchup thing that Gisborne is looking at, that Michael mentioned as well, I think they're trying to orchestrate getting a free behind the ball. So they're actually looking to... Reaper's been taking right back to the goal line. They're trying to find a free defender. At the moment, it's Spear that's trying to get free across halfback. This one might be coming off.
Yeah, Stagg really hobbling towards the ground. So we'll get Michael onto that one to see what's going on with Nick Stagg down there. But that doesn't look good if you're a Sandhurst. How important Nick Stagg is for the side.
I think the signal is blood rule first up, boys, so I'll have a look and see what's going on from there.
Certainly looks a bit sore and proppy as he heads towards the boundary. So there's a little bit of a stoppage in play. Umpire Norton will throw the ball up in the air, interesting, before he actually gets off the ground, but it's knocked out of there by the Dogs. They go wide, turnover. McLean bangs it into the middle of the ground for Sandhurst, but it goes to space. It bounces towards the Maxted direction. He hit it hard, but it was well read. And a nice pick up by Reaper. Reaper then fires it out wide to Jared Lynch. Back into the side. Lynch handballs further forward. They'll pump it inside forward 50, the Dogs. No player intended at the bottom, but it spills to McKenna. And he just popped up like a little sprinkler inside that forward 50, and he takes the mark on his chest 40 metres out, almost directly in front.
Really good body work by Pat McKenna too, just to actually lead his player underneath the football and just lean and take the space where the ball was going to land. So quality forward craft.
Actually thought he'd ran himself out of the play for a second then, but he knew exactly what he was doing, Pat McKenna. So for the second goal of the day, the first for Gisborne, Pat McKenna, 40 out, not too much of an angle to deal with. On the right, he stabs at it, but he's put it through, gives a good celebration as well. Pat McKenna kicks the goal, and Gisborne get themselves in front. They're 1-1-7, Sandhurst 1 straight 6. It's been a good battle early in the opening quarter. Score sponsor Central Kitchens, Bendigo, 13 minutes gone in the opening quarter.
Tactically, it's really interesting too, guys. There's actually the matchups around the ground, equality matchups all over the place. Rotations, you're rotating A-grade midfielders off 4 A-grade midfielders. So we're going to have this one go right to the wire, I have a feeling. This is a really close contest.
Boys, just a quick one. Nick Stagg just trying to find a way to get into some rooms at the moment to try and figure out what's going on with this right knee. Looking at the inside of his right knee, it's already bandaged and he's keeping it moving, so it looks not too bad, but at the same time the concern is they can't get into the rooms down here.
Dogs win it out of the middle and it goes inside forward 50 again. Lord getting involved, and Kerno had gone into the ruck. That ball there by Carraher, he got it on a half back. Receiving the footy now will be Kerno on a half back. He spreads it wide. He gets a bit of a cheer from the crowd because he kicked it out of bounds on the fall. And the free kick will now go to the Dogs.
I'll bring it back into play. Lead up. And a good defensive mark taken for Sandhurst. Noel Walsh, who then chips it further forward to Eureka. So they're going down the poolside wing here, going towards the Bendigo City end of the ground, the right-hand side of your radio dial. Eureka goes with a short pass to Wilkinson. He'll get it back. Then he'll send it inside forward 50 on the right. Taju being held, going to receive a free kick 30 metres out directly in front. And Lachlan Taju will go back, and we thought he might have spent a bit of time forward, and that's exactly what he does, but he's gone forward and he's got himself an early free kick, Johnny Hunter. He'll line up 35 out directly in front.
I'll jump in for you there, Johnny. That's disappointing from a defensive point of view. Spear certainly had a handful of Lockie Tardra's jumper, but I have a feeling on the other side, Lockie had a fair handful of Spear's jumper as well. So, regardless, it's a set shot at goal for Sandhurst, and I would expect a player of the quality of the Nicholson medalist to put this one through.
I think whenever the umpire sees a jumper being tugged, you're always going to get it going towards the forward, I reckon. So, a chance for Taju. 18 games. 18 times he's featured in the best players for Sandhurst, and now he's got a goal in the grand final. Lachlan Taju pumps up the Sandhurst crowd here at the QEO. They get their second, their 2 straight 12. Gisborne 1-1-7, 15 gone in the opening quarter. Score, sponsor, Passes Towings in Castlemaine.
I've seen the Sandhurst guys have got a concerted effort here to say hello to Braden Blake every time they run past him as well. He's the next Sandhurst player there, so every time they run past, there's a little bit of niggle and a little bit of commentary. I'm sure that was a pre-match message.
Gotta love it, Jace. As Kern's gone into the ruck, so any questions about that injury has been, well, I reckon he must be pretty good if he's going into the ruck against somebody like Blake. Ball is at ground level, contested. It was tapped to the outside wing, caused a secondary stoppage. So it'll be Kerno up against Blake again. 5-point margin. Dragons lead. Kerno probably won the tap on that occasion. Tapped it to Connick. Connick will go inside forward 50 the Dragons to the city end. Swooping on the footy for the Dogs will be Wes Scovey. Fans it wide to the outer side. Goes out of bounds. And on true centre wing, swimming pool side will have a ball.
No, out of bounds on the full, John.
In fact, it was on the full. There you go. 12 playing 7. Dragons lead, 17 minutes gone, opening turn.
So Lockie Hood receives the free kick. He sends it inside forward 50. It carries to the back, and it is punched over the boundary line by Vescovi. In fact, Coughlin actually kept it alive for a split second there. But in the end, the boundary line wins out. Underneath the scoreboard, which leads Sandhurst 2 straight, Gisborne 1-1.
There's still too much room out there from a Gisborne perspective. Sandhurst's got way too much room to move in. They're too dangerous. They need to be shut down.
Throw in, right on the paint of 50. Maxted was in the ruck. Blake reached over the top of him with that height advantage. And a high tackle will be a free kick going the way of James Gray for Gisborne. Gray quickly gets it moving. Chips the short pass. Mark taken by Dennehy. This is Jed Dennehy. He'll look to go further forward down the line. Sending it down in towards a pack where there'll be about 4 or 5 flies. Scanlon came up from the back, but Kerno was at ground level. He swooped on it and then just sent it up towards centre half forward. Mark not taken, spills out the back. Eureka emerges with the footy. Dennehy takes him over the boundary line. A little bit high according to umpire Carter, so free kick will go to Dayton Eureka.
Eureka having a good game. Getting in amongst the action. Slight, there's not much of him. Now he plays on from his free kick. He'll go long. Inside forward 50. Oh, jumped too high, Tardru. That was unrealistic in my eyes. He was up and down before the ball even got there. Umpire didn't agree though, so we play on. It's by the Dogs. They'll work through Merritt. Merritt by hand gives it to Cardillo. Cardillo short pass forward, which is tapped over the boundary line. Defensively, well done by Kerno of the Dragons. We'll have a ball in. 12 playing 7. Gisborne trail. 19 gone opening turn.
Just to explain that comment earlier for the viewers, for the listeners at home as well. It's just Strathfield showed us how to tighten up the ground on Sandhurst last week in the preliminary final, and Gisborne just giving Sandhurst too much room on the QEO at the minute.
So knocked down. Trying to work through will be Macklin Lord. He received possession, thought about the handball, then realised he had a bit more space. Sends it up towards centre half forward to Lord. Ball off hands. Spills out the back. That's Dennehy handballing it forward. Off to Scanlon. Scanlon to McKenna. McKenna goes, I thought he was going goalwards, but he's kicked it around the face. Went looking for Bell Bartels. It bounced away from him. Connick receives it. Handball to Hood. He couldn't quite control it. Hood's being taken away by 2 Dogs. In there, it comes out wide. Now they go back to Blake. Blake will then send it up towards forward 50 and charging out, taking a nice mark, Dylan Johnson, but he might have been over the boundary line. It's out of bounds on the full.
Free kick Island, deep in the back pocket. Barnard Street ends. Swing full side. He looks down the line. He plays on. And now he'll kick it long. 50-metre ball. They'll set themselves. Reaper behind. Did well with a big punch away from Maxted of the Dragons. Puts it over the boundary line and we'll have a ball in.
Nick Stagg back on the ground, Michael.
Yes, he is, guys. I was just about to come checking out that. He was testing that knee out and he looks like he's okay.
So the umpire throws it in. Outer side. Curnow doing the ruck. Blake is there as well. No clear win at ground level. Socket off the ball there off the ground by Curnow. He puts it 50 metres to their advantage. Maxted getting involved. A little give over the top. Now they're going to be away through Walsh. Walsh turns and goes inside to Green. It was at his ankles, made him work. Green keeps his feet. Then he's besieged. Good strong tackling. Umpire lets it go. Hurry kick from the Dogs defensively and they'll put it into the middle.
Into the middle they do, and it's marked right in the middle of the ground by Pat McKenna for Gisborne. So Pat McKenna's got it. Middle of the QEO, he's going to come grandstand side wing to Vescovi. Vescovi marks on his chest and accelerates away. On the right, sends it inside forward 50. Scanlon and Ireland. Clawed a dead heat, hits the ground where Scanlon thought he had the advantage. He paddled it forward. Sandhurst will go hard up against the boundary line. Picked up and cleared out of there by Darcy Mills, and it goes over the boundary line and out of bounds for a boundary throw in front of the Sandhurst coaching staff. Of course, on the opposite bench to what they're used to here at the QEO. They usually be on the one in front of us for home games, but Gisborne have taken those rooms today, so they're forced down to that other bench. And we'll get a boundary throw in.
Umpire will throw it in. It's a shallow throw in. Blake, he foresaw it. Then he gave it to a teammate. That was good to Cardillo. Back to Blake. Blake might have muffed this up here now on 50. We'll have a stoppage. Pack forms. And 50 from home, we'll have a ball up.
The Sandhurst defenders have been fantastic in this first quarter as well, so they've withheld a number of Gisborne attacks.
Umpire throws it up. Blake wins it to Bell Bartels. He picks it up. Good strong tackling there. It was by Carraher. Another stoppage. 51 from home now for Gisborne. Excuse me, Barnard Street in. 5-point margin. Dragons lead, 22 gone opening term.
Ball up. Blake knocks it down. Bernacki emerges with it. He gets space. He gets the goals open. Brett Bernacki. That's why he's a Mickelson medalist. A set play, and he steams in and kicks the goal. 2-1-13 Gisborne. 1-1-7 Sandhurst. 2 straight 12 Sandhurst, I should say. Score sponsor, Rural and Outdoors Castlemaine. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. It's Gisborne by 1 point.
So that's 2 of our Mickelson medalists now on the board. So a bit of pressure now on Braden Blake to get on the scoreboard as well to make sure we get the trifecta today. This is a quality game of football. This is the best we've seen for the year so far in my eyes. So this is really looking forward to see how this one pans out.
We've got the close one, Jace, at this stage. We're almost at quarter time here. Perfect conditions for football. Doesn't look like rain. There is a shower, a light shower forecast later in the day. But at the moment, absolutely magnificent. As Connor Sexton wins the tap on that occasion. Stagg is still out there. Swoops on the footy. Then he fumbles it. He's at ground level. Taps it. Now we're on left half forward. Lakey does well. He wins it for the Dogs. Causes a turnover to Johnson. Johnson laterally gives it to Spear. He's defensive 50. He'll put it into the path of the teammate in Gray. It'll bounce. One-on-one contest. Good work, Connick. Gray did well. He'll come inboard. Gives it to Danahy. Danahy will give it back to Gray. Gray's got Bell Bartels. If he can give it to him, it's a poor kick. He's got time and space on the boundary line. 50 metres out from goal. Into the corridor. Hits a target. They had to work, but the Dogs did it through Cardello, and he'll have a shot at goal.
I don't think he is.
Cardello now. He'll spread it. I reckon he probably should have put to the top of the square. McKenna was his target. Picked up there by Wright. He goes long up the ground as Green and takes a mark for Sandhurst.
Green's got players streaming forward. McLean has just run. It looks like he might have just ran all on the ground on his own. Kick didn't quite get to him. Eureka knocked away from him by Spear. Now the Dogs are worked forward. They've got space through Dylan Johnson, who's doing it on both wings at the moment. Johnson on the left. It's a real ugly looking ball inside forward 50, but it bounces all right for Braden Blake. Blake knocked it to the ground. Picked up by Cardillo. He sends it towards goal, and he's kicked it out of bounds. Right hand forward pocket. We'll have a boundary throw in, and there looks like another Gisborne player coming off a bit sore down there, Michael.
Yeah, a couple of them coming off not too well in this one at the moment. James Gray's the one coming off holding his side at this point in time. And just a quick update on the netball side of things. Strathfield say leading by 37-36 over Gisborne in the A reserve by 1 goal.
Barnard Street in, Dogs in attack. Umpire throws it in. Blake at ground level. He is besieged by a pack of Dragons. We'll have another ball up. 30 from home. Barnard Street in. Dogs looking at getting another one in the board before quarter time. Up they go in the ruck. Hood swoops on the footy for the Dragons. Poor handball over the top. He coughed it up. He gave it to Lakey. Series of handballs ends up with McKenna on the left to the top of the square. Dragons need to kill it here if they can. McKenna backs up his own football. Gives it by hand to Johnson. Johnson on the left goes home. And in fact, it might be out of bounds.
For a kick that went near the goals, John.
It went out of bounds on the fall. He did everything right, but kick it properly there, Cam. 1 point margin, Dogs lead, 25 minutes gone, opening turn.
Pass short back in finds Noah Walsh, and Noah Walsh over the top to Cooper Smith. So Smith has it right on the defensive 50, left-hand side of the ground. The old South Bendigo change rooms, which are no longer there. He'll send it down the line. Scanlon will get the first look at it. Goes through hands, spills out the back. Vescovi couldn't quite control it. Tarju picked it up, was tackled by Vescovi, but he managed to puddle out the handball in the direction of Sexton. Spills forward for the Dogs. Vescovi, he turned it over. Tarju emerges with it, gave it off to Stagg. Stagg pirouettes before finding Curnow. Curnow will go back to Tarju. He's just labelled a little bit there inside forward 50. And it goes over the bounds for a boundary throw in right on the paint of 50, right-hand side forward pocket on the grandstand side of the ground.
Dragons in attack. They're looking to pinch one before quarter time. Curnow in the ruck. He's got front position. He went up against Scanlon. Now it's Walsh. He can't win possession. And Stagg, up the footy, ground level. Asking for a free kick was Lord. He won't get one of the Dogs. We'll have a ball up. 1 point margin. Dogs lead, 26 and a half gone. Opening turn.
The ball up right in front of us. Curnow taps it forward. Lord couldn't quite get boot to ball. Go over the boundary line, so we'll do it all again, but this time it'll be a boundary throw in as opposed to a ball up. Right there, 60 out from goal. 2 14s in Tarju and Lord lining up on each other at the moment, but it's Scanlon in the ruck up against Curnow. Curnow tapped it forward in the direction of Smith. Smith accelerates away. He's hard up against the boundary line. In the end, he ran straight over the boundary line for another boundary throw right in front of us, and I reckon that was his intention without making it look like that was what he was trying to do.
Boys, just letting you know, James Gray's back out on the ground. He was just a little stinger on his left-hand side.
Umpire throws it in. Michael Van Dorsa at ground level where local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. Grand final footy. The ball's with Benaki. He gives it to Lord. Lord to the wing. Gives it now to McKenna. McKenna marks it on wing. Broadcast side. Just slowing things down, waiting for something to emerge. He'll kick it into the middle. He'll go corridor. Finds Lynch. Defensive side of centre wing, broadcast side. The sun is beaming here at the QEO. He's playing a bit of tempo footy as well. Spins the foot in his hands. Now he goes. 60-metre ball, holds up in the wind to half forward. Rough hit the pack. Oh, he's right, probably got in his way. Emerging with the footy, it was critical with the Dogs. 2 more short pass. And the Dogs have got a mark through Burke, and he'll line them up on a 45-degree angle, and they just emerge from nowhere there, Jason.
Clear communication there between the two Sandhurst defenders. Right and Rough both went for the same footy. One of them could have swallowed it up easily had they communicated a little bit more. Difficult on grand final day, big crowd, a lot of pressure, but certainly an error from the Sandhurst defenders.
Ryan Burke, 45-degree angle, crosses the 50 logo to the Barnard Street ends for the Dogs. On the left, will kick a goal. Is it a goal? It is! Geez, it made it work. I thought it might have just touched the post on the way through. It didn't, but that is a major. Score sponsor, JB Restumping. Grand final, local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. The Dogs go to 3-1-19 to the Dragons. 2 goals straight, 12-29 gone opening turn.
Need to take those small opportunities on grand final, don't you? And that was a small opportunity that presented itself with the two Sandhurst defenders making an error. Presents itself over the back for Gisborne. They take the chance and will likely take a quarter-time lead.
29 minutes gone, long quarter for only 5 goals, 1 kick, but there's been a lot of stoppages around the ground. Merging with it, Stagg on the right, sends it up towards centre half forward. It's sat okay for Palprat, emerges backwards to Stagg. Stagg got the old 1-2 off a kick. He then sends it high. Green comes out from the side, knocked away from him. Vescovi and Lynch are there. Lynch is happy to see it over the boundary line. And I thought something interesting might have happened for a second then, but it's just the netball crowd buzzing over there. We'll get Michael Van Dorsa to give us a full-time score down there in a moment.
Umpire will throw it in, deep in the forward zone. It'll be the Dragons. Curnow in the ruck. He's done a power work this afternoon already, and we're not even into a quarter time. Diving in after the footy. Both teams. Lord did well. Umpire let it go. Lord with the footy. Gives it back to Lakey by hand. An awkward looking ball beyond 50. And right up the ground is McKenna. Working hard. Might get one for too hard. Bell Bartels for the Dogs. It will be. And his first possession of the afternoon in the defensive arc.
So that will be quarter time here at the QEO. It is grand final day, and it has been a very entertaining opening quarter. It's the Gisborne Bulldogs 3-1-19 leading the Sandhurst Dragons 2 straight 12. A big second quarter to come in this one. This game has got the makings of an absolute epic rip roll over it. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. Here at the QEO, it is grand final day. Gisborne and Sandhurst. It has been the theme of the day in the football. The Sandhurst Dragons have won the reserves and the under-18s over Gisborne, and currently it is quarter time in the senior contest, and they trail 3-1-19. Gisborne, Sandhurst 2 straight 12. Looking at the goal kickers in this game, Brad Benacki, Ryan Burke and Pat McKenna for the Dogs, while for Sandhurst it's Lockie Tarju and Dayton Ureta. Some of the better players in this game for the Sandhurst Dragons, John.
Other way around, Ken.
Oh, Jason Stevens.
I've got Sandhurst. John's got Gisborne.
I'm not good looking one.
Sorry, I'm not going to even comment on that one, John. I'll just let that one go. You're probably correct. So, from a Sandhurst perspective, I think Noah Walsh had plenty of the footy through the middle of the ground. I liked his game to date. Lockie Tardrew, if that calf can hold up, is going to be dangerous throughout the day, and he's had a good first quarter. Lockie right in defence, a couple of intercept marks and looked good. And Bryce Curnow coming back from that injury last week too. I thought he was impactful forward and in the ruck. I've liked his game so far.
For Gisborne, it's been up forward McKenna, but the supply through the midfield has started off with Benacki, Cardillo, Lakey and Law. The supply, they've been a little bit off target at times, but if they keep up that amount of supply, eventually the gates are going to break and they'll hit the scoreboard, I would say.
So Michael Van Dorster's down at ground level. Michael, you've got an update on the netball and what's being said out there at the huddle. Michael's not with us down there, so we'll come back up to what's going on here. Jason Stevens, how do you see with the win? You'd think Gisborne would be pretty happy considering they were kicking against it in that first quarter to what it looks like at the moment.
I think they would be happy. I've got no doubt about that. But there'd be some moments in their coaching staff. I think it's been it looks like a Sandhurst type of game. It's pretty open out there on the field at the moment. So I think they'd be a little bit nervous about that. Want to tighten up and make it a bit more contested from a Gisborne perspective. But certainly you'd be happy taking a lead at quarter time.
So you just think with the breeze, what have they got to get to? As Michael Van Dorster's back down at ground level, what do you got for us down there, Michael?
Hey boys, just letting you know the A reserve result was what the big crowd noise was late in that first quarter. It was Strathfield say getting up on the siren over Gisborne by 1 goal in what was an absolute ripper. Just listening into both huddles at the break, and Gisborne really just making a point on their stats board about play-ons between the arcs. I think they were at 7-1 in that stat for them, so it's just a real big point from the Gisborne Bulldogs to try and make sure that they're playing on where they can. On the Sandhurst side of things, they're really wanting to lift their intensity on the ground balls, make sure they run and carry and take territory. That was the big word out of the quarter time break. And it looks like Nick Stagg's okay. He's named on the ground to start off in this second quarter.
Michael Van Dorster down there at ground level as the second quarter is about to get underway. Umpire John Norton will hold the ball in the air, and to get us underway in the second quarter will be John Hunter.
Grand final, local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. In the big game here, it's a 7-point margin. Dogs lead. They dominated inside forward 50, but Sandhurst were up to the challenge. We've got the close one here. Umpire will throw it in the air. Up they'll go. It'll be Blake against Sexton. Blake wins the tap. Tried to give it to Benacki, but Blake followed up his own ball. He's tackled strongly by the Dragons in the middle. They'll tie it in and look for a second stoppage. Oh! Umpire Norton has said he didn't try to get it out. And Dragons free kick. It'll go to Stagg. By hand gives it to Walsh. Walsh of the Dragons inside forward 50. Wilkinson overruns the football, but Johnson didn't of the Dogs. It's a turnover. Handball now. Might have another turnover inside forward 50. Handball over the top to Green. Green tried to cleverly give it to a teammate and couldn't. Hurry kick though. comes quickly boundary side and it goes out of bounds on the full, and we'll have a free kick.
That was interesting feedback from boundary level from Michael too, to hear that Gisborne want to play on between the arcs. That means that they're encouraging that fast movement, so might have to convert and say it's a Gisborne style of game, because it's certainly the way it looks at the minute.
So it'll be Spear to bring the ball back into play. Liam Spear, it's the 9 games this season after being overseas for a long period of the season. Intercept, turnover, Ireland. Ireland comes back in ball, but Braden Blake makes his presence known. He takes it, then he sends it out forward. He sends it out to the races. Flying forward, James Gray. He's got a handball to McKenna. McKenna got it. McKenna can steady. He'll snap around the body on the right. McKenna kicks the goal for Gisborne. He's got 2 goals in the game. Pat McKenna is flying. And Gisborne move along to 3 to 4, 125. Sandhurst 2 straight 12. A minute and a half gone in the second quarter. Score sponsor JB Rees Stumping. The local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Those McKenna nightmares that I mentioned early in the broadcast are starting to. I'm starting to get flashbacks here. This is he's looking really dangerous forward of the footy. And again, that's what Michael mentioned at the quarter time address. Actually, was about playing on at all costs through that middle of the ground in between the arcs. They did that, executed. Easy shot at goal.
This second term is brought to you by Central Kitchens, our sponsor in this grand final of Bendigo football. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. Blake wins it out of the middle again for the Dogs. Sharing it around Danahy. He'll put it over the top. It's okay. The ball is spread wide. Running onto the footy will be Burke. Picks it up for the Dogs. Handball to a running teammate in Johnson. Johnson short inside. Well, he tried to go inside to Matt Merritt, who's been quiet in the opening term. Boundary line, and it'll be ball up. Dogs in attack, 60 from home. 25 playing 12. Dogs lead, 3 minutes gone, second turn.
Boundary umpire wastes no time throwing the ball back into play. Sexton, Tarju, gave it off to Maxted. Maxted's handball went straight to Lakey, though. Lakey emerged into space and then Maxted actually almost sharked it. Got into the middle, gave it to Curnow. Curnow off to the run and Smith. Smith goes out wide. Good looking ball towards centre half forward. Palprat then tried to trap it at the ground, but he was pounced upon straight away. Coughlin emerged with the footy. Tried to fend off the tackle. Umpire says he didn't have any prior, but I reckon once you fend, you're playing a dangerous game, but he gets away with it. Ball up right on the paint of 50.
Up they go in the ruck. Blake used his body, put it down the throat of the opposition in Tardrew. He was strongly tackled. Punching the ball forward now will be Stagg. He goes around in a half semicircle, which is a quarter circle if you're wondering. Now it's still at ground level. It is, isn't it? There's me Matt's under pressure on left half forward. It's Dragons in attack, 25 playing 12. Gisborne lead, 3.5 gone, second turn.
Curnow is absolutely shoved underneath it, all legally by Braden Blake, and it goes out of bounds for a boundary throw in. He's a big, strong ruckman, is Braden Blake, and Bryce Curnow's really got his efforts in for him today if he's to win that matchup. Interesting that we're used to Sexton spending a lot more time in the ruck, but probably sharing it pretty heavily, as again he's worked underneath it. Blake gets it, just boots it forward for Gisborne. It bounces out of bounds right in front of us, broadcast position.
I think we remember too, Cam, that Sexton missed last week as well, so there could be a little bit of that ease back in as well.
Of course, now he will go into the ruck. Looks like Caleb Connick will come down there as well.
Ball thrown in by the umpire right in front of us. The gentleman Cam giving it to me. I couldn't be any closer. The ball was allowed to bounce. Blake overran the footy. Now it'll be Walsh for the Dragons. Handball forward to Tardrew. Goes around the body. Awkward looking kick looking for Wilkinson. Curnow offered support, but his handball was too severe. Causes a turnover now. It's the Dogs. Hurry kick off the side of the boot. And Lord, in a contest one-on-one, did very well with Connick. No clear winner. Boundary side on the true centre wing. Broadcast side, 25 playing 12. Grand final, local football lives at Bendigo's Fresh FM.
Throw in, grandstand, centre wing, knock forward again. Connick in a one-on-one, ball spills. Tarju finds some space. Now he emerges with it. Well, there's no issues with him because look at him go. One bounce and then he sends a high ball inside forward 50. It gets to the back and it now spills for Palprat. Can he find some space? He's taken in the tackle straight away. And it was looking dangerous for a second, but Vescovi is playing a big role in the back line for Gisborne this year. So we'll have a ball up inside forward 50. Scanlon goes into the ruck, gets in behind Curnow, knocks it to the ground where it just falls to the feet of a few players. They'll all dive on it. And we'll have another ball up just inside forward 50, 20 metres out from goal.
Umpire will throw it up. Blake won the footy. In fact, it was Scanlon down there in the forward zone. Lynch is also down there in the back half there for the Dogs. Umpire will throw it up. Up they go in the ruck. Danahy gets his hands on the football. He gives it straight to Tardrew, who had a shot at goal, whose kick was smothered. Then Polpratt runs onto it, and he's tackled by Benaki of the Dogs. Another stoppage. 40 from home. Dragons in attack. Gisborne still lead 25-12.
Just as Braden Blake just comes off the ground for a little bit of a rest here too, fellas.
So Scanlon, Tardrew knocked it down. Eureka gets it. He'll snap on the left. And it will be out of bounds on the floor. A mark to Reaper. Take your pick. I think it might have been the first of the two options, but either way, it will result in a Jack Reaper kick. He plays on quickly, goes looking for Luxmore, has to come force the contest, spills out. Taken in the opposite 15 by Lockie Wright, hits the ground, and the umpire across his arms will have another ball up. Right on that paint of 50. Gisborne in attack. Sandhurst Dragons trailing this game. Benaki emerges with the footy, handballs it forward. Coming through was Macklin Lord, got it off to Bell Bartels. Bell Bartels goes into the middle of the ground, but a good use of the body by Isaac Ruff. And he'll take the mark and he'll relieve a kick out wide, but it's a little bit dangerous. And it spills right into the hands of a Sandhurst player there in Mills, who couldn't control it. Furthering forward to Wilkinson. Benaki at centre half, back for Gisborne's able to emerge with the footy. Couldn't find a way through the traffic. It came out from Coughlin, got it to Polpratt. Polpratt was mowed down in the tackle by Dylan Johnson, and that's holding the ball. Umpire right on that one, wasn't going to miss that one. Free kick Dylan Johnson at half back for Gisborne.
Johnson now, it's been serviceable. He'll go laterally, almost backwards. So they'll build here the Dogs from the back half. Been impressive. It's a long kick, Dogs. Will come to the wing. They'll set themselves. Ireland had the better position, had a lot of the footy but couldn't get it. Danahy punched it forward 30 metres. Running onto the footy now, they'll be right. He coughed it up. Turnover. Turnover after turnover going here. Merritt was getting involved. Then it gets further forward to Luxmore. And then the pack forms. And on top of the getting up from the bottom of the pack will be Cardillo. Is it a free kick or a thrower? It is a ball up. Right in front of us, 25 playing 12. Dogs lead, 8 minutes gone, second term.
Sexton back in the ruck against Scanlon. Scanlon wins it down to Walsh, and then Scanlon has to go and make the tackle on Noah Walsh. Another ball up right in front of us. Jace, any interesting matchups you're seeing out there that might have changed this quarter?
None that I can see that have changed, Cam, but there's certainly interesting matchups all around the ground.
Knocked down. Hood tried the handball for it, but he handballed it straight back into the pack. I'll have one more go here, Johnny. At the bottom there is Polpratt. Gets up, hands the ball to the umpire by Anderson. Sexton wins the tap down. Over his shoulder. Dennehy couldn't quite control it. McLean emerges with it against Gray. McCrean was able to get it and pick it up and send it towards centre half forward. Bouncing ball to Joel Wharton, who we haven't seen much of or any of at all in this game. And we'll have a boundary throw in front of the Sandhurst coaching staff. Watching on, they trail this game by 13 points.
Dragons across half forward, broadcast side, they're in attack. Just since they need to get one on the board, reward for effort. It's been a bit of a seesawing battle, but it'll be the Dogs who win it through Shapano. He'll go long inside forward 50. McKenna one-on-one with Ruff. Who'll win it? Ruff does well, paddles it towards the boundary line. That's his friend, and offering support is also another friend in Ireland, and sees it over. Good defensive work, Dragons.
Great defensive work, Isaac Ruff, even to the extent where he threw his arms in the air to try and get Pat McKenna to draw a free kick from him, but great across the top of the ball and worked to the boundary line really well.
Isaac Ruff, of course, already has a medallion today. He coached the under-18s to a premiership this morning. Free kick inside forward 50s going to Gisborne. Didn't see what that one was for. Did we see what that was down there for at down level, Michael?
Yeah, I did. It was Zach Polpratt getting a bit of a hard time of it from some of the Gisborne players as well. And he's just slipped as he would try to push off. Just slipped above the neck there of Flynn Lakey.
You're right behind Flynn Lakey down there. What's the breeze like at the moment?
It's not too bad, to be perfectly honest. There's not a lot of it here. It's protected nicely by the grandstand, but where he's kicking from, it might be a bit open.
So Flynn Lakey on a slight angle to the right of the goals. He'll kick it from 50 metres and he puts it to the right through for a minor score. And they move to 4 goals, 2 Now, Gisborne, Sandhurst, 2 straight 12. Score sponsor, Bendigo City Flamers. Local footy lives up fresh.
Right of the Dragons will play on from fullback. Runs his measure. Then it's a long short. What a long short.
What's going on down at ground level there, Michael?
Yeah, two Sandhurst runners were out on the ground at the same time. So I'm not 100% sure on the rule on that one, but you guys might be able to help out in that respect.
Now it's with Hood. Hood in the back zone for the Dragons. He'll put it to the wing. Setting himself was Tardrew. Doesn't seem hampered by his injury at the moment. It'll be Spear. He overruns the footy. Wilkinson getting involved for the Dragons. Ground level. Polpratt sneaks it out. Ends up with Joel Wharton. Joel Wharton, awkward looking left to half forward for the Dragons. They'll work it nicely here from behind. Curnow should get rewarded with a free kick. Brings Merritt to ground. Umpire says, yes, you will get a free kick.
He called the advantage as well. So he's called advantage, and Sandhurst have absolutely muffed the advantage. Not sure there was any advantage there. Gisborne work it out, but it'll be an intercept mark to Palpratt on centre wing position on the pool side. Sorry to cut you off there, Johnny. But I don't even think Bryce Curnow was aware that they had taken the advantage.
I don't think he'd be terribly happy they did take the advantage.
No, he wasn't at all. Palpratt will then emerge with the kick, though. Send it down the line. Big fly from Dennehy. John said multiple times this year he might take mark of the year one day. It goes inside forward 50 for them. Intercept mark taken by Reaper.
Reaper, what a servant he is. He'll go short across the face of his defensive goal. Finds Lynch, who comes into the side this afternoon. Short to Johnson. He'll go over the top. And it's a poor kick. It'll be a turnover. Turnover the other way. We've got turnover after turnover. It's now the Dogs. They win it. Long kick. It's bounced 70 metres. McKenna will run onto it. Carraher does well. Ties him up. Good, strong defensive tackle from the little man.
Fantastic work, Isaac Carraher. That's brilliant defensive effort to take down a larger player in Pat McKenna.
And he gets up, quickly wheels the kick to Maxted, who marks it in the middle of his defensive 50. Kobe Maxted will then swing it out wide to Cooper Smith. Cooper Smith will go short to Ruff. Ruff takes it underneath the scoreboard here at the QEO. Now they'll come inboard to free. So free marks for Sandhurst. But there's not a lot going on further of the footy, but he spots up a really nice kick to Lockie Hood. Hood found some space, thought about handballing off to a runner, decides against it, wheels onto his right foot, goes out in the direction of Curnow, who marks. He gets away from Reaper. Handball over the top to Tarju. Tarju handball over the top was good. It finds its way into Coughlin. Coughlin will go the centering ball. The kick just lacked a little bit, but it's picked up by Matty Wilkinson. Wilkinson goes goalwards, and Wilkinson puts through the goal. Matty Wilkinson kicks his 13th goal of the season. And Sandhurst get their third. They're 3 straight 18. Gisborne 4-2-26. Halfway through the second quarter. Score sponsor, Daily Bricklaying and Construction. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Johnny mentioned in the call that Sandhurst needed one shortly, and I think he was right. I think we needed to see that goal from a Sandhurst perspective, but I'm still really surprised how open this game of football is. It's pinging from one end to the other, really open contest, which isn't like the other finals we've seen today.
Let's hope it keeps up. Perfect conditions. Sun is beaming here at the QEO. Curnow is in the ruck. Coughlin starting to get his hands on the footy. Tries to emerge with the footy and he just fumbled it. Bernacki said, I'll take the footy. Then he lost it. Coming through the middle will be Tardrew. He handballs over, turnover. Spear nicely. Just puts it in the direction of Lynch. Doing well just between the centre and centre half forward now for the Dragons, looking to launch again. We'll have a stoppage ball up. 26 playing 18. Dogs lead. 14 and a half gone in this second turn.
Curnow got up. Blake's gone down holding his head after that one. Merge forward for the Dogs. Freeze back there. He takes it and he's taken in a tackle straight away by Matt Merritt. So 70 out from goal. Gisborne heading towards the Bendigo City end of the ground. Knocked down. Comes out wide. It'll be sent inside forward 50 from James Gray. And a good defensive mark by Liam Island. He went back with the flight and he was dealt with by Dennehy as well. And it looks like he might be a little bit sore for himself down there. Michael van der Rossa down at ground level.
Yeah, boys, definitely had the wind taken out of your sails, that's for sure. We're just keeping an eye on a couple of things. As Jared Lynch has been called off a couple of times here for Gisborne as well. He's still hanging around. So we'll see what happens. But I think he's just up on his haunches now and should be okay, is Liam Island. Might just take a bit of time. as blood rule has been called.
Who just came on there for the Dogs?
It was Ryan Burke, boys. Sorry.
This is an interesting one here too with Liam Island coming off. They'd like to change up the Sandhurst defensive matchups as well. He's doing a pretty good job out there, so hopefully he can get himself fixed up and come back on the field to play, but he looks a little bit groggy coming off the ground as well.
Is it a blood rule on Island, is it?
Yeah, I believe it is a blood rule. I'm just trying to pick up as to where it is. That was what the umpire had signalled with the arms crossed. Bit going on off the ball here between Curnow and a couple of others.
It's a bit going on. There's a little bit of feeling in this game here at the QEO. We're waiting for Liam Island to emerge his way off the ground in the hands of the great Dr. Rowan Molinar, one of the best docs around. Island does get to the boundary and we should be able to restart play. And taking the free kick in defence.
Sorry, is it?
Yep.
It'll be Harrison free for Sandhurst.
Handy man to have the football. It's a beautiful kick.
So free will play on as soon as he receives the ball. Clears the kick down the line looking for Connick. Knocked away from him by Gray. Then Gray handballed over the top looking for Johnston. And Isaac Ruff assists it over. So any update on Ruff as he come off the ground there, Michael?
No, nothing yet, boys. I'll just have the team go and see if we can have a look now.
Out of side now. 26 playing 18. Gisborne lead. This second term brought to you by our sponsors Central Kitchens in Bendigo. Ball is thrown in and it's hard up against the boundary line again. We'll have another ball in. Ryan Burke thought he'd escaped with the footy for the Dogs and was away, but the boundary umpire said no. And the footy back here to me. We'll have a ball in. Just marginally in attack now for the Dogs. Out of side. Umpire throws it. It bounced. No one got hands on it. Curnow was doing the ruck work. Hurried kick out of the pack by the Dragons through Connick. Whistle on play. Might have got one when he kicked it. And it'll be brought back. It won't be down the field. In fact, it's a free kick and it's too high. It goes to Nick Stagg of the Dragons.
So Stagg has it. Crowd starting to get involved in this one to Curnow. Curnow then wheels it up towards centre half forward. Big fly from Dennehy over the top. Knocks it over the boundary line for a boundary throw in. It's a pretty big crowd in attendance here as well. And they're still steaming in here at the QEO. 18 minutes gone in the second quarter and we've got a really good game of footy on our hands. A big second half is promised for this one. Blake knocked it down. Lakey then emerged with the footy. He just kicked it forward though. Bounces away from Wilkinson. Stayed in play for Isaac Ruff. Ruff handballs to Connick. Then Connick tried to give it back to Wilkinson. And the boundary line wins out as it so often does. We'll have a boundary throw in on the pull side wing. Centre wing position at the QEO. It is a perfect day for footy. 26 playing 18 in favour of Gisborne.
Feels like a messy game to me in the last 5 or 10 minutes, Jace.
It's not as clean as it was, is it?
No, some basic errors. I don't know whether that's might be a little bit of fatigue and pressure now starting to emerge as we've got another stoppage.
You're probably right. It probably is a little bit of fatigue. It's been very open, as we mentioned through the call, so it could be a bit of fatigue setting in.
Out of side. The Dogs by 8 points here. We're in the back half of this second term. Goes to the wing. Whistle on play. It'll be a Dogs free kick to Spear for a hold. Spear, it's been good in the final series after a shortened season. He's got the best of both worlds. He's been overseas and now playing in a grand final. He'll kick it long. It'll be a 50-metre ball out of side. It bounces to the back of the pack, gains momentum over the boundary line. 50 metres from goal, which the Dogs attack will have a ball in.
It's a nice luxury, isn't it? Go and enjoy the European summer and come back and enjoy the QEO in perfect sunshine. It's a pretty good life for Spirit.
Throw in. Scanlon and Curnow both get hands to it. Spills to Coughlin. Coughlin works it forward. Lockie Hood comes out at it. He's taken in the tackle straight away. We'll get another ball up. Coughlin starting to have some key impact moments on this game as well. Ball up. Back down. Curnow's kick was smothered. Irita found some space to paddle it forward in the direction of Walsh. Knocked away from him, but it found its way to Stagg. Stagg up towards centre forward. It gets out the back for Fergus Green. Fergus Green gets it. He can go to the races, Fergus Green. He'll go goalwards. 10 metres in from the boundary. Might have been better off centering that one up, I reckon, did Fergus Green. But it's the minor score. It's their first minor of the day. They're now 3-1-19. Gisborne 4-2, 26, 20 minutes gone. Second quarter score, sponsor passes Tollings Castlemaine.
Normington will kick it in for the Dogs. Plays on from fullback. He will send it to the swimming pool side as well. Playing that side a lot again this afternoon. Ball spills to the back of the pack. The Dragons will win it. Tardrew eventually with a footy over the top to Connick. He fans it wide by foot and finds Hood. That was a 25-metre ball. Hood hard up against the boundary line. Swimming pool side to the Barnard Street end. He now launches into the football. Didn't get a lot of distance, but it fell short. Stagg was there. Stagg has got the mark. Now he turns and goes into the pocket. He's got a hard lead through Green, who hit the pack at speed and the footy. And eventually it goes over the boundary line. 45 from home for the Dragons will be a ball in.
Nick Stagg's had a pretty impactful 5 to 10 minutes as well through the midfield zone for the Sandhurst Dragons. That's interesting watch. So there's a few Sandhurst players that have got off on odd occasions today.
And Vescovi's doing a good job on Green down there as Tardrew emerges with the footy out of the contest. Had to handball forward. It's taken by... He's taken in a strong tackle over the boundary line.
It was Hood, I think, was it?
And is it being called for holding the ball, or I didn't see which way the umpire pointed?
It was holding the ball, but it's pretty close to a sling tackle and a dangerous tackle.
And of course, a lot of Sandhurst players behind and the 18s players behind the goals were signalling that it should have been the latter of the 2 free kicks, but it wasn't. So Gisborne will then ship the short pass through Lakey. Lakey out to Spear. So Spear's in defence for the Dogs. He'll go even further forward, short pass. Dennehy. He'll stab it down the line. This is good build-up, though, from the Dogs. Finds Benaki. Now Benaki will get and go. He'll wheel it up towards centre forward. Really nice kick, which went down in the direction of Luxmore. Spills to ground. Bell Bartels handballing it forward. They were over the boundary line, though. They were building a case there, the Dogs. It was good by building it up from defence there, Jason. It almost worked out for them.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of control movement, have we, today? It was nice to see that to come into the game.
Dragons by 7 points. 23 minutes gone, second term. Grand final of season 2024. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo as the ball's punched to the path of Walsh. He was tackled well by Cardillo, and it's over the boundary line for a ball in.
Was tackled without the football, I would have thought, but we'll let that one go.
So umpire will throw it in. 60 from home. Dogs in attack. It's thrown in. Falls to the back of the pack. Cardillo, hands and knees again. James Coughlin has him wrapped up. Another have a ball up. We'll have another go at this, Cam, and see if we can get out of there through umpire Carter. It's a stoppage. 70 metres from home for the Dogs. Tardrew wins it for the Dragons. Handball forward, it was ineffective. And good tackling by the Dragons as Danahy grabbed the footy. Incorrect disposal, free kick Stagg.
Stagg quickly handballs forward. Emerged through Coughlin. Beautiful looking ball up towards centre half forward. Green dropped the mark, but he got it out to Walsh. Walsh to Hood. Hood will then go with a pass which was barely 5 metres, let alone 15. Mark not taken anyway as the punch come through at the last second from Pelprat, and it hits the ground level. Ball up just inside forward 50. Sandhurst in attack. Barnard Street into the ground. Trailing by 7 points. Late in the second quarter. Maxted takes it out of the ruck, shovels the handball forward to Green. Green runs out, runs straight into Jet Dennehy, and we will have a ball up inside defensive 50.
7 point margin. The second term brought to you by Central Kitchens in Bendigo, our sponsor of this grand final. The last game of season 2024. Up they'll go in the ruck. Maxted of the Dragons won it. Emerging now, Dogs did well. Defensive kick to the outer side. Might be out of bounds on the full. It is. So it'll come back the other way for the Dragons, looking to launch for another goal. Carahor, however, short pass was ineffective. Smith was there for the Dragons though. Handball wide to Carahur. Carahur now an up and under kick. He'll put it to the pack. They'll hit it hard. Maxted did well. He marked it very strongly against Danahy. Now Maxted, he's got a handball on. He goes to McLean. McLean to the Dragons inside forward 50. They'll hit the pack hard. Connick's taking a mark, I reckon, a juggler in the middle of the pack. And what an important kick this is on the death of half time. He'll look He's not confident. He's got a player on in the pocket. Picks him out. It might be Jake McLean. It is. And he's on a pretty tight angle, but he needs to slot this, Jace.
Yeah, he does need to slot it, John, but Caleb Connick's work rate today, fantastic, up and down the ground on this wing commentary box side, pushes hard back into defence to support his defenders, and on that occasion worked really hard forward and got on the end of the mark.
No thoughts on multiple players getting their hands on that one though, Jace. Looked like a big pack of players had hands on it.
Yeah, well, he came down with the count.
Jake McLean's kicked 14 goals this year. None more important this one. To get it close enough, and it is. Jake McLean slots it. We've got a game on our hands here at the QEO in the 2024 Grand Final. The sponsor, Jason Westcott Builder, Grand Final local footy, lives at Fresh Bendigo. Sandhurst 4-1-25 to Gisborne 4-2-26, 1 point margin, 26 gone.
Again, Sandhurst defenders were able to set that play up there as well. Isaac Carraher tried to bring the ball back through the middle of the ground, did make a mistake, but was able to get it back and move it forward. He's converted himself into a defensive weapon for the Sandhurst side as the season's gone on too. So it's fantastic to see that development for him to go from a mid to a defender.
Back in the middle we go. Benaki taken by Tarju, spills out to Lakey. Lakey sends it up towards centre forward. Dennehy comes charging out, had it all on the chest, but he spilt it when he hit the ground. Second effort was good to Macklin Lord. Lord's handball went wide, looking for Merritt, missed him, turned over Connick. Connick then kicked it straight down the throat of Spear. Spear will send it inside forward 50 and he kicks it straight down Lockie Wright's throat. So maybe they need to change jumpers at the moment, but Lockie Wright has it in defence for Sandhurst. 27 minutes gone in the second quarter. They trail by 1 point.
Wright will send it long. Wide. Tardrew. Contested mark at front position, Jace.
He did.
Short pass forward 30 metres. Curnow hits him. Curnow hard up against the boundary line. In front of a heap of dog supporters. He'll now come inboard laterally. Tardrew, 50 metres. Didn't see what it was for.
It was a 50-metre penalty.
50 metres. It was an immediate 50 metre. So whether or not the man on the mark moved or not, that probably is the likely scenario. Tardrew would have come within kicking distance, albeit it'll be a long and good kick from there, Jace.
It is, but the way that he kicked the ball at the other end of the ground, you would suggest he's not going to have any difficulty with the distance, so I'd be backing him.
For the lead. Right in the middle of red time. Umpire Norton just has a chat to him for some reason. What an important kick as well. The second important kick in probably a minute. They're all important at this stage of the game when it's close. Tardrew's just taking some long, deep breaths. In fact, someone must be coming off, are they?
Not sure what's going on out here. It looks Curnow's kick by the looks of things.
Yeah, so it is going to be Curnow. So why did it take us so long to work that out?
I sensed it was Curnow early, and then I thought, oh, maybe I'm wrong because
everyone's... Why didn't John Norton give it to him straight away?
Let's see what Curnow can do. He's a long kick of the footy. He hops, he steps, inside he comes at 50. He's asking it to swing right, and it doesn't. He always thought it was going to miss, and it's a minor score.
Maybe he was trying to get
evens it up,
the ball instead.
26 apiece, 29 minutes gone, second term. Local footy lives. Grand final local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Gisborne will bring the ball back into play. They'll chip into the back pocket where they'll find Spear. Spear marks the old South Bendigo social rooms pocket, which no longer exists, as we mentioned earlier. He'll come down the grandstand side wing. Spear. Blake's the target down there. It'll hit the back of the pack for Tarju. Handball forward. Not sure it was an interesting handball by Cooper Smith, but it spills out wide. Going through Darcy Mills, laying the tackle. Tarju's everywhere at the moment. Fires the handball forward. Taken by Benaki. One Mickelson medal winner to another Mickelson medal winner there. They both tied this year. Sexton went off the ground. Free then tried to get out of the way, but ended up getting in the way. And it's knocked down for a ball up. Down at ground level, Michael Van Dorsa.
Boys, just letting you know, Liam Ireland has come back on the ground. It looked like he went through a concussion protocol test and passed. So he's okay and he's back out on the ground.
Across half forward, now we'll have another stoppage. Seems to be a lot of injuries going on down there, Michael, but nothing serious enough to keep them off the ground for the time being anyway.
Just keeping me busy as always, boys.
Earn your money down there, Michael. Good to see. As Hood goes inside forward 50, the Dragons was on the left. Good defensive punch there, but Reaper of the Dogs. They're only 20 from home now. Curnow picks it up, shovels it over the top. They're on the goal line here, the Dragons. They're going to muff it. Are they? They are. An opportunity missed. It's a 1-point margin, Dragons lead.
It was an opportunity missed, but pressure. Credit Gisborne's defence for that pressure. They were all over that contest and only gave away a point.
I'd like to have a look at how Curnow hit that ball then. It was pretty hard as Gisborne bring the ball back into play. Sandhurst are now leading this game by a point. In the back pocket, the mark's been taken. Reaper, then fire it down the line. Blake will come out to it. They all emerge around him, hits the ground level, spills out to Bell Bartels, couldn't quite take it cleanly, and he'll assist the ball towards the boundary line, but it doesn't quite make it over, but they dive on top of him for a ball up right in front of the Sandhurst coach's box. They're watching on. 1 point lead to the Sandhurst Dragons, deep into red time in the second quarter. Knocked over again for another boundary throw, and it's been a hell of a lot more stoppages in this quarter, Jason, than what there was in the first quarter.
There has been, and I've actually just thought we probably need to shout out too. Connor Sexton here down this line as well has scored the ball a couple of times in marking contests, doing a pretty good job there against Braden Blake.
So throw in. Paul Sexton, the winner of that one. Cooper Smith emerges with the handball. He'll fire it out in front of Lockie Hood. Hood can paddle it to himself, then he'll handball it to Staggs. Staggs' handball smothered, and Gisborne will emerge with it now. They'll send it down the grandstand side wing, and getting in front, Lockie Wright knocks it away from Jack Scanlon, who's playing further forward now for the Dogs. We'll have a boundary throw in true centre wing position. Grandstand side here at the QEO. Sandhurst by 1 point deep into the second quarter of the 2024 Senior Football Grand Final.
Umpire will throw it in. What a joy it is to have a close game here in the grand final. It's a 1 point margin. There's nothing splitting these two sides at the moment. Curnow's been good. Handball forward to Walsh. Walsh will go inside forward 50. An awkward bounce over to McLean. McLean's got an open goal and he hits it poorly. A poor kick. He just tried to kick it too hard, I think, and it was a cocked ball and takes it to a 2 point margin, 28 playing 26 Dragons lead.
He certainly had more time than he felt, I think, out there on the field. But that, again, credit to Gisborne's pressure.
I reckon you're putting the commentator's curse on whenever you get a bit excited there, John.
He should have kicked that.
You've had 2 out of bounds on the full and a shank kick at goal from both times. Excited.
You could have kicked that.
Gisborne bring the ball back into play. Mark taken by James Gray. Kicked an even better goal than that against Carisbrook one day, but we won't talk about that. They'll send it down the line, the Dogs.
Down the nines, don't count.
Maxted and... Oh, big mark taken by Lockie Wright. Thought it was going to get over the back to Maxted, but Wright flew in from the side, and he got a little bit of a sit on Scanlon as well. So Lockie Wright has it, and the siren will sound to end the second quarter. And it has been a very entertaining grand final. Gisborne 4-2-26. Trail Sandhurst 4-4-28. It is a 2 point margin, and this grand final is going to go right down to the wire. So do not go anywhere. The second half to come here from the QEO. Cam Power, Jason Stevens, John Hunter, and Michael Van Dorsa, where local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. Back here at the Queen Elizabeth Oval, it is grand final day for 2024. The Oz Kickers have been out on the ground, and there is a mass amount of people out on the ground. It is time to find some prime real estate out there, emerging around on the ground, trying to kick the footy out there at the halftime break if you're a spectator. The umpires are heading in right down on the ground, but it is the Sandhurst Dragons leading by 2 points, 4-4-28, Gisborne 4-2-26. The goal kickers in this game, 2 to Pat McKenna, and then singles to Brad Benaki and Ryan Burke, while for Sandhurst it's all singles. Tarju, McLean, Wilkinson and Dayton Ureta kick the first goal of the game. Having a look at the better players, we'll start with the Sandhurst Dragons. It's Jason Stevens. Did I get it right that time?
You did that time, Cam. Well done. And how fantastic is it to see so many Oz kickers out there on the ground? Well done to the Bendigo Footy League to actually get those Oz kickers involved on grand final day. That's an experience I'm sure the kids won't forget. So from a Sandhurst perspective, I think we've got the same sort of names that we saw in the first quarter that are still impacting the contest. I thought Lockie Tardrew was quite impactful throughout the game so far. Bryce Curnow playing a different role than we've seen him play throughout the season, but through the forward line in the ruck, I thought it's been pretty impactful as well. Noah Walsh and Lockie Wright in defence, I thought were probably the pick of the Sandhurst players. Special shout out to Nick Stagg, though, who was really good towards the late part of that quarter. I thought he was a good ball mover from the...
Considering he was injured. He come off for quite a while. And from the Bulldogs' perspective, I feel it was a lot harder to find better players in this back half of that second term. It was a lot more sloppy, so a lot of the defensive play come into action. I really like the fact that up back, he they're under pressure a little bit in that back half. So Reaper was leading the charge with some good defensive, strong punching. I like the fact that, ground level, Ryan Burke has been going pretty well, and Pat McKenna kicked 2. He kicked 1 in the first and 1 in the second. He's providing that target, but it wasn't as dominant as early in the game. Benaki, who's been pretty consistent for the whole half, he found things a lot tougher. But Cardillo, Lakey, and just going through the middle, I thought I won't say they struggled, but they found it a little bit more difficult than what they did in that first term.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's certainly what I noticed as well. It wasn't. It was open still. The contest was open, but it wasn't as prolific from a Gisborne perspective as far as those mids winning as much of the footy. I'm really interested by the tactical dance, and we call it a tactical dance from the coaches as well. So you look at the Sandhurst end, they're constantly rolling over that deepest forward. So Joel Wharton spent a fair bit of time down there as the deepest forward. I see that Fergus Green goes there. Lockie Tardrew has a rest down there. Curnow spent some time as the deepest, and that constant movement is trying to destabilise the Gisborne defence and Reaper. But on the counter-attack, Reaper just sits back and waits for the wingman from a Sandhurst perspective to filter back into defence, and then he just finds and goes by his merry way as the loose man in defence and gets the footy. So it's really interesting tactically when you're watching the game. Can't help but watch the game in that fashion, but yeah, really engrossing contest.
Yeah, and Michael Van Dorset will be in the room, so it'll be interesting, Cam, to see what the coach have said in that half-time break and how they're going to attack this second half of the grand final.
Yeah, certainly will be very interesting. Who would you rather be in this situation at the moment, Jace?
Sandhurst. One-word answer. I think the game, like I said early on, it feels like it's a Sandhurst type of game, and I know Gisborne are trying to play that way if they want to open it up and play on between the arcs, but to me, it feels like a Sandhurst type of contest, which is... yeah, I'd certainly favour being in the Sandhurst coach spot.
I would be fractionally worried if I was Gisborne at the moment. I'm just sensing the same thing as you, Jason, that they're coping with the conditions a little bit better. They've got their up and run game going, so it'll be really interesting to see how they respond in this second half.
I don't think I'd be too stressed. I mean, they'd be sitting there going, we haven't played our best and we're only 2 points behind. I think they're well and truly right in this game. And I'm still tipping them to win the game from here. I still think Gisborne are the better side out there at the moment at stages, Jace. So it should be a really good finish, and I'm just hoping it stays. As a neutral supporter and the big crowd in attendance, I'm hoping that it stays as a pretty close contest throughout.
Well, just about get things underway here. Just about to get the third term started of the 2024 grand final of the Bendigo Football Netball League. Gisborne 4-2-26, trail Sandhurst 4-4-28. Grand final, local football lives at Fresh Bendigo for the third term. Just about to get underway. Cameron Power.
Umpire out David Carter. He's umpiring his first senior grand final. He will loft the ball in the air to get the second half underway. A 2-point margin with 2 points to go. The final 40 minutes of Bendigo footy for 2024. Blake wins the hit down, but it's sharked and banged forward by Noah Walsh. Inside forward 50, Jeddah Dennehy got to the back, couldn't quite take the mark, spilled away from him. Maxted and him will compete for the battle. It's been a fascinating contest all day, and they'll dive in on top of it. Ball up, right on the painter, 50. It's Lockie Hood at the bottom of the pack for the Dragons. Ball up again. Knocked down Blake. Kick out of bounds on the full. Might have been Connick that got the kick further forward. It's gone out of bounds on the full, so a free kick will go to the Dogs, and it'll be brought back into play by Normington.
I don't reckon that they've made the most of the wind either, Gisborne, as well.
Did no.
As the ball was kicked long, it's going to be a turnover. The kick goes straight to Connick, who's been really good, not only today, all year. Really impressed with the way Connick goes about it. That awkward kicking style, it bounces inside forward 50. Defensive punch was good. Dogs did well. It was Vescovi, puts it over the boundary line. 45 from home. Dragons in attack. They lead by 2 points. Umpire will throw it in. Up they'll go in the ruck. Grabbing it out of the air will be Blake. I reckon he's turned it over. He's handed it straight to Tardrew. Held without the foot. He puts his arms back. Umpire wouldn't have a bar of it. Green getting involved. He hasn't hit the scoreboard this afternoon, Fergus Green, as it will be a stop. It's 25 from home. Deep in the pocket. Broadcast side. 2 point margin. Dragons lead.
Well, he's got a behind next to his name, so on minor score for him. Maxted in the ruck duties. Trying to find a way through. Interesting little handball that Shoveled out to Tarju. Tried to sell some candy. Still got through onto the right. Threw it on the boot. Went goalwards. Minor score. Tarju. Dragons increased their lead. 3 points. 29-26. 2 minutes gone. Third quarter. Spear will bring the ball back into play. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Interested to see if there's any control from the Gisborne side in this quarter. So let's see if they control it a little bit or they go fast.
Spear plays on from fullback. Sends it swimming pool side. Beyond 50. Big fly behind was Jed Dan. In fact, it was Zach Danahy. Had his hands on the footy. Couldn't quite bring it in. And it will be a ball up 70 from home.
So ball up. Blake taps it down to ground. Benaki gets there first. Handball out in front of Lakey. And Lakey and Merritt, they both went the same ball there and eventually it spilled. And umpire has blown, was it a free kick or a ball up?
Holding the ball, free kick, I think. Sanders
Holding the ball. Not sure on that one, but it'll be a free kick for the Dragons. They'll quickly send it inside forward. 50, big fly from Eureka, who came flying from the back. It's a Sandhurst free kick inside goal. Was it a shove, was it? Fergus Green's taken the ball. Might have even been a mark to Fergus Green, was it? What happened then, Jace?
I'm not sure. I got a bit distracted by Eureka's jump at the footy cam.
Yeah, I absolutely lost it. Eureka went flying and I lost the ball. And either way, Fergus Green's going to receive it. He'll line them up underneath the scoreboard. 30 metres out, 10 metres in from the boundary. Fergus Green, wouldn't this be the start to the second half for the Dragons? He comes in. He'll kick on the right. Hangs it well out to the right. He's missed a lot. It's gone out of bounds on the full. Not his day so far, Fergus Green. Gisborne quickly bring the ball back into play. Short pass finds James Gray.
Home from Spear. Gray, short pass forward. Benaki, 20 metres. Defensive arc of 50. Hard up against the boundary line. Broadcast side. Plays up his options. Then he goes down the line, 50 metres. They'll set themselves. Poor kick. There's two Dragons there. The front player was right. The back one was Ireland. It was right that marked it. Right now, back inside forward 50. Corridor. Maxted was the target. Mark! Oh, you got to pay it. He didn't. He had a piece of it. Palprat roved it. Gave it to Sexton, who fumbled it. Curnow tries to milk a free kick. Umpire won't have a bar of it. Burke getting involved. Another turnover now. Handball forward, Connick. He gives it to Free. Runs to 50 and slots it. What a goal, Dragons. Good build-up. Scoreboard sponsor Parsons Towing in Castlemaine. Takes the Dragons to 5-5-35. They lead 4-2-26. 4.5 gone. Third term, grand final. Local football lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Beautiful finish from the halfback flank and Free. That's we've commented on his kicking, and there's a little bit of a skirmish on the other side on the far wing. There's a little bit of a dust-up happening, but Free, fantastic finish. Great goal.
We'll go back in the middle here. Blake wins it down. Walsh is in there up against Macklin Lord. Sexton thought he was claimed high. Bell Bartels went in after the footy, as did Lakey. And we'll have another ball up. They've progressed it 10 metres further forward towards goal. The wind looked like it's starting to really pick up out there. Knocked down. Lockie Hood emerges with it. Gave it off to Connick. He'll send it up towards centre half forward. Maxted sits underneath it, takes the mark. So Kobe Maxted's got options inside forward 50.
He can make the distance.
He absolutely can, Kobe Maxted. He can line them up directly in front. 33 goals, 18 games, and 9 times in the best this year for Kobe Maxted. 55 out, 10 in from the boundary, right-hand side. He goes goalwards. He starts it left. It's going to swing right back to the line. Touch through for a minor score. So they increase their lead out to 10 points. 5-6-36 playing 4-2-26. 6.5 gone third quarter. Score sponsor Jarrett Rulin Outdoors, Castlemaine.
Spear will bring it in again for the Dogs. Plays on from fullback. Oh, it's an awkward ball beyond 50, but was effective in the end. Found his teammate in Johnson on the left. Johnson goes with a long kick, and a free kick will go to Burke. Burke by hand, back to Johnson, running through the middle of the QEO. That's an awkward left. Awkward ball that bounces. put Normington under pressure. They've got numbers. Danahy emerges. This is Jed. That's an awkward kick inside forward 50. The wind must be playing havoc, Jason. They're all poor kicks. Jake McLean mops up, gives it by hand to right of the Dragons. Maxted jumped high, jumped early, found his feet. Handball over the top to Stagg. Johnson tries to grab him. Stagg just handball, a hoik over the top. Running onto the footy now was Ainsworth. Not effective. Now picked up by Coughlin. Inside forward 50. Spear dropped a mark he should have taken. Under pressure. Jake McLean tackles him. Ball goes wide out in the direction of Lynch. Bounces over the boundary line and will have a ball in. At ground level, Michael Van Dorst.
Yeah, boys, it has. The wind has definitely picked up on that outer side near the old, near the end of the grandstand. It's blowing quite heavily out that way at the moment.
Favouring the right-hand side of ground, Michael.
Yeah, if anything, just probably more towards the scoreboard than the actual goals.
Knocked down inside forward 50. Lakey handballs off to Vescovi. Vescovi will straddle the boundary line looking for Benaki. But I think he was also quite content to see it over the boundary line for a boundary throw in. Underneath the scoreboard, 10-point lead to Sandhurst. 8 minutes played, third quarter.
We're on the club rooms there listening to some of the addresses there, Michael.
I was actually getting a feel for the crowd around the place, to be perfectly honest. There's a massive crowd on that outer side trying to work their way through, and some great... everyone's enjoying what is a really close game of footy out here.
Big crowd here at the QER was Johnson. What a battler he is for the Dogs. It's one of my favourites. He's in my stable, Jason. As the umpire throws it up, Sandhurst in attack, forward 50. A lot of players around this footy. Another stoppage. 10-point margin, Sandhurst lead.
Yeah, I think it's a good one to claim, Dylan Johnson. I remember the interview earlier in the season when he said he wanted to play Premier footy and dropped into Gisborne's doorstep. So that's, yeah, good kid.
Knocked down. Noah Walsh is out there. The Breeze is certainly playing some havoc out there at the moment. Benaki's got two Sandhurst Dragon players to beat, and he forces that ball up, which I think is a good result when you're in an outnumber in a contest like that. Those trees on the netball side of the ground are starting to really flutter around out there. Just seeing a lot of stoppages in a row at the moment here, Jace.
Here we are. We're getting a good look at the hot chip van over the other side of the ground, aren't we?
Knocked down. Johnson will go back for the Dogs. He'll pick it up and then he'll handball over the top, looking for Benaki, who should get a free kick for being caught high by Eureka, and he will. Umpire Carter in the perfect spot to find that one. So underneath the scoreboard, it'll be Brad Benaki.
Benaki, he'll kick it long. Not reaching any dizzy heights in this third term this game. Both sides still feeling themselves out. It's still Sandhurst in my mind that have the upper. It's McKenna now with the footy, playing a long way up the field. Hard up against the boundary line. Half back, swimming pool side, 50-metre kick. Danahy at the back of the pack was nice. Bell Bartels received the handball. It's a kick that goes wide, long, and it's either out of bounds on the full or a throw in. Might be the latter. Did get a bit of distance, and now Gisborne in their forward zone looking to put one on the board.
So it's coming all the way back.
It's gone out of bounds all the way back there, but
and then kept bouncing there.
Yeah, the kick that went inside. Frank Shapano had just snuck in off this grandstand side wing, and he was out inside forward 50 if they could get the kick into him. They were unable to do so. We'll get the throw in. Sexton knocks it down to ground level. Not the prettiest 10 minutes of footy you'll see to start the third quarter, but Sandhurst won't mind. They're 10 points in the lead.
He's done a good job, Frankie Shapano, on Joel Wharton today too.
I actually can't recall Joel Wharton having more than 2 or 3 disposals out there, I don't reckon, Jace.
No, Frankie's gone every step of the way with him.
Knocked
coming
down
off the ground now with him.
Macklin Lord found some space, sent it inside forward 50, and he kicked it straight to Darcy Mills, who intercepts for Sandhurst. He'll come down the grandstand side wing looking for Coughlin. Coughlin takes the mark. He marks in front of Ainsworth. Quickly gets the handball playing. Back to Mills. He'll then steam inside forward 50, setting the kick in the green direction. Vescovi's hard up against him. It'll go towards the boundary line. It stays in play for Green. And then Vescovi also was able to keep his feet. Handball back into danger, though, was rather interesting. You'd think eventually they just got to take it over the boundary line, or a Fergus Green tackle will result in a ball up underneath the scoreboard.
Probably not a bad. Sandhurst haven't been able to score, so Gisborne has taken a bit of time off the clock here, and if the wind is favouring this end a little bit, that's probably going to be their favour.
Dragons in attack. City end. Lakey. Handball to Spear. Spear and up and under awkward ball. It'll go beyond 50. Zach Dennehy did well ground level. Sees it over the boundary line. We'll have another ball in, Jace.
A lot of stoppages, a bit different than what we've seen in the first half.
10-point margin. Dragons lead. 12.5 in the first. In the third. This third term brought to you by our sponsors, Rural and Outdoors in Castlemaine. As the umpire will throw it in, grabbing it out of the ruck now, Connick. 20-metre ball forward to James Coughlin. Might have got one too high. Lynch, probably lucky Lynch backed off just, I reckon, at that last half a second and didn't cause any damage.
No, he did well. He took a bit of care for the opponent there and didn't collect.
Left half forward. Dragons in attack. Up they'll go in the ruck. Connick does the ruck work. The ball is ping-ponging around. Still at 50. Walsh overran the footy. Spear, a little bit of a fresh airy, bit of a toe poke. Umpire letting things go, giving it every chance to get out, and it can't. And we'll have a ball up 51 from home. Dragons lead. They are in front. 10 points, and they're in attack. 12.5 gone third term.
Spear just bangs it on the boot, holds up a little bit, but it still finds its way into the hands of Mills for Sandhurst, who's come into the game in the third quarter. He'll then send it inside. Maxted has given away a free kick for a push. Thought he might have got there and taken the mark above his head, but he shoved Dennehy underneath it according to the umpire. Been a good battle, those two, this afternoon. Dennehy, short pass, finds Benaki. Benaki will come inboard, and he finds its way into the hands of Jared Lynch. Back into the game. Just his second game back from injury. The first was a reserves prelim final last weekend. He then chips it down the line and finds Ainsworth. Grandstand side, Jared Ainsworth. It's just not a lot of movement ahead of the footy. Del Bartels will provide the short option. He'll mark. Centre wing, grandstand side. Still not a lot going on further of the footy. Forced to really slow things up. And then he'll go short pass back to Lynch. Lynch was told to play on after he went around. Island will then smother the kick out of bounds for a boundary throw in, and a real nothing better play that for the Gisborne Bulldogs, Jason.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I think it was slow sort of build-up, which was okay, but then Jared Lynch just sort of stepped off his line and the poor player.
14 points gone, and there's going to be a free kick off the ball, I reckon.
Taju fell over. He was knocked by Dylan Johnson. I think the umpire just might have saw him on the ground afterwards then.
I'll tell you what, the boundary umpire had a nice spiral on his throw to the player too.
Now the ball with the Dragons will go long through right. Goes to half forward. Good defensive punch. Reaper, how good is he? Don't you love him having him up back?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? That fist is just spring-loaded. It comes off the fist when he spoils it.
What do you got in your hands down there, Michael?
I just had the 17 and under Premiership Cup walk past me, that's all. So
I hope it was only full of Coca-Cola.
it actually had nothing in there, to be perfectly honest.
Stagg wins it now, gives it to Smith of the Dragons. Up and under kick. He'll kick it to 50. It'll be Curnow at the front of the pack. Also Max did. Jed Danahy did well. Coughlin, Ainsworth. He's the ladder of the Dogs. Handball inboard. He probably should have tried to kill it. Give it to Coughlin. McLean. Handball to Tardrew. Low ball going!
Free kick.
Yeah, it had to be a free kick to Vescovi. He was going to try and grab the ball.
Jace? What occurred there?
There's a bit of a hold in the goal square, I think. Just bounced through. Fergus Green sort of held him back.
I think Vescovi was definitely going to get that and maybe at least have a play at touching that ball. So in the goal square, they get away with one there. Vescovi will clear the kick out of defence, but it's Hughes, and it's a shocking kick. No hide on it. He tried to punch it through the wind, and the mark's been taken by Lockie Hood, who will line him up. He's 50 out from goal, almost directly in front. Tough kick from here for Lockie Hood.
If there's ever a spot to kick a goal with this wind, this has to be the best spot to have a shot, I would have thought. That wind should actually bring it back right to left, right goal post. We're not going to putt it in the middle, we're going to go to the right goal post and let it come back in.
9 goals in 18 games for Lockie Hood in season 2024. This would be one of his biggest. He on the right, sends it right to the line. The crowd gets right behind it. Has it carried the distance? I think it has. He's got the goal, Lockie Hood. And Sandhurst have got themselves a nice little lead here at the QEO on grand final day now. They're out by 16 points. 4-2-26 playing 6-6-42. Score, sponsor, passes, towings, Castlemaine, local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
There's some red flags, isn't there, out there at the moment from a Gisborne perspective. They wouldn't want to leak another couple of goals here. It is a low-scoring contest. They wouldn't want to leak another couple of goals here in this quarter. That would be serious dangers.
Back in the middle, they call it the Premiership quarter. Well, they're all Premiership quarters today, let's be honest. But this is important time here for Gisborne. Whistle, free kick, Dogs. Braden Blake's been a bit quiet in this third term. 50. Didn't see what that was for, Jace.
No, I didn't see it either. I thought Connor Sexton was pretty stable on the mark, so I don't think it was him. So I'm not sure whether there was any other feedback.
This will be for your trifecta that you put on earlier. With
Yes.
the medalists kicking a goal in the game.
It will be.
Directly in front. Another important kick. They keep racking up the important kicks, but they all are. Gisborne under pressure now. They trail 26-42. Braden Blake will cross the paint mark of 50. Directly in front. Barnard Street end. It's a horrible, horrible ball. Comes off the side of the boot. Not sure what happened with it. Dragons are being let off the hook now with a long kick. It'll go to the bouncing and bouncing still to the outer side wing. It's gone 60 metres in the end, and it will be a ball in. So, boy, oh boy.
Get the tape measure out on that one, I reckon. See how far that went.
Get Shiny Cole onto the job as it's 42 playing 26. You're getting nervous here, Cam, because you tipped Gisborne by a big margin today.
Yeah, starting to get a little bit nervous of the Dogs. Benaki works it forward. McLean couldn't quite take the mark. It's then sent forward there by Gisborne, by Ainsworth. It gets to the back. Back there for Sandhurst. Handball out. Bell Bartels is there. Handball off. It's Luxmore. Luxmore around the body. Carraher took it. He was tackled straight away. Handball backwards from Carraher. And while Connick, he's just tapped it through in the goal square. No one really around him in defensive trouble. Hard to see that one being paid in Bendigo footy. 27 playing 42. 19 minutes gone. Third quarter. Dragons by 15 points.
Free the kicking in duties for the Dragons. Just will go and launch it pretty much down the middle. It's bounced beyond the circle. Now they're out. Fergus Green will go long. There's two Sandhurst players and two Dogs. It's 30 still out. Curno's got the footy. Ball over the top to Joel Watton. Here come the Dragons.
How did they miss that one?
A score sponsor, Jason Westcott Builder. Grand final local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. Sandhurst 7-6-48, Gisborne 4-3-27. 20 minutes gone, third term.
There was a call miss down there. I think Frankie Shapano is probably pretty stiff that Wharton got that kick. Then he had a handful of his jumper. But credit Sandhurst, that's a big advantage when you've got Harrison free kicking the ball out of fullback that can land it in the centre circle and move it that fast to a 2-on-2 contest. That's you're going to score more times than not when it's in that type of setup.
I guarantee if that was the other way around, the forwards getting that free kick paid every day of the week, though, Jason.
Yes, Cam, and I'm not going to go into that. Umpires are human and make mistakes as well, but it's, I think the ball, the build-up, the movement, that's probably the big positive there.
That's what's caused the goal, hasn't it? Not in the end, the movement forward.
Go back in the middle. Gisborne desperately need the next one. Blake takes it out of the ruck and then he's tackled straight away. Handball out. Wright gets it and sends it up towards centre half forward. Coughlin and Spear coming through there. Maxted handballed it forward. Under all sorts of trouble here. Have a ball up right on the defensive 50. 27 playing 48. Sandhurst have got a good lead on this game. It has been a final series where the team leading at three-quarter time has been overrun, as it did happen last week, to get Sandhurst here in the first place. On the far wing, Merritt's got a bit of a headband on. They handball it forward. It comes to Cardillo. Cardillo handball inboard. Now they're away. They'll send it inside forward 50. Great build-up from the Dogs. The kick just lacked. Going inside, looking for Dylan Johnson and knocking it over the boundary line will be Harrison free for Sandhurst. And a free kick, I reckon, has been paid off the ball here. And a Sandhurst, it looks like Islands and Fringe. They've been hot on that all day. Dylan Johnson's going to get a set shot on goal. 40 metres out. Not too much of an angle to deal with from the right-hand side pocket. And if he kicks this, that is a big blow and a real game changer, I reckon. We've seen they've been hot on that all day. Dylan Johnson comes in on the left. It's ugly. It is very ugly, and he's only almost just got it in. And you can see what the crowd behind the goals think of that one. Minor score, 28 playing 48, 20-point margin, 20 minutes gone, third quarter. Score sponsor, Rural Outdoors, Castlemaine.
Free, tries to launch another one into the centre like he did his previous kick. Was ineffective, comes off hands for Jake McLean, spills towards the boundary line now. Dogs, you're under pressure now. You shouldn't lose a game from this point now, approaching three-quarter time when you're leading by 20. And you've had probably the dominant part of the game all day, really, Jason.
Yeah, this is a handy lead for Sandhurst now. We need Gisborne to tighten up to make sure they can stay in the contest.
Umpire will throw it in. Broadcast side. Up they go in the ruck. Blake tapped it and then backed up his own footy. Handball to Lakey. Lakey to Cardillo. Cardillo now. They're working nicely through Lord. They'll share it around, getting involved. With the footy was Lynch. Inside forward 50 now for the Dogs. Running through was Merritts. And goals. So a good response there. They needed one on, well, almost three-quarter time. Score sponsor, Rural and Outdoors in Castlemaine. Tightens it up here a little bit now. Gisborne 5-4-34. Trail the Dragons 7-6-48. 22 and a half minutes gone, third term.
Bit of late 90s, early 2000s footy there. That's a perfect front and centre. Crumb from a small forward, hit it at pace and couldn't have read and timed it any better than what he did. And fantastic finish.
Back in the middle, one down. Tarju will get the clearance. He'll accelerate away. He has a bounce. He then rolls inside forward 50 for the instant reply. Lachlan Tarju just completely wraps out that last goal that Gisborne kicked. It may as well have not happened, because 10 seconds later, Tarju goals as easy as you like. No one else touched the footy. Score sponsor, Jason Westcott Builder. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
We're going late 90s, early 2000s. That was Chris Judd-esque. Straight out of the middle, no one touched. Got anywhere near Lockie Tarju. Couple of bounces, steadied, and it didn't spin perfectly, but went straight through the middle.
Who will handle it best? Response after response from both teams. Back in the middle now. The restart. Sexton jumped over the top, but Blake won it, an awkward kick forward. Only went 15 metres. It will be the Dogs, though, that have got possession. Well, picking up on the end of it was Benaki. Benaki, that was an awkward possession. Now it'll spill back in the middle. Blake backing up his own footy. Oh, he threw it out. Umpire let it go. It was okay. It went to Benaki. Back inboard. Getting involved was Lynch again. In fact, it was Lynch. Now the ball goes forward. Normington getting involved. Ainsworth getting his hands on its footy. Merritt now goes forward. Short pass. 25-metre ball, and they'll slow it down to Danahy.
He's got Bell Bartels out on his own. He doesn't spot him. He quickly wheels on the right, sends it into the pocket, which is where Bell Bartels was standing. The kick was centimetre perfect. Mark's been taken on the chest by McKenna, but now boundary umpire says he was out of bounds on the full. So maybe the kick wasn't perfect for Pat McKenna. But if he was going to go into that pocket, he had to hit Bell Bartels on that first option. Isaac Carraher, dangerous kick across the ground. It'll hold up for Wilkinson. Dylan Johnson will come to put some pressure in him. The 218's doing battle at it. And a little bit of say, and then, that should be a free kick. The last one was paid. That one has to be paid as well. It's not paid. It's going to be a boundary throw in. Dylan Johnson. In fact, it is paid. So Dylan Johnson will chip it into the pocket. And wow, this game has just turned into an absolute comedy show in the last few minutes, because that kick has just been turned over by Wright. Wright will chip it into the goal square, and he'll find Cooper Smith.
Been good today, Lockie Wright.
The defensive goal square, of course. They've been good down back, the Dragons as well. All over the ground this afternoon. They're just starting to get right on top here. Coughlin, hands on footy. Little give to Connick, who's been great. Goes to Curnow. The kick was effective. Outer side wing, swimming pool side. He directs traffic. It's a low, long ball. He hits up Green. Green 70 metres from home. Looks for McLean. McLean's got the sit. He'll run goal. Dragons in control at the QEO, almost three-quarter time. Scoreboard sponsor, Don Smallgoods is good. The Dragons 9-6-60 lead Gisborne 5-4-34. 26 minutes gone, third term.
Sandhurst is working with the wind, but that's a big margin that's been put out now. It will really need a response from Gisborne before the end of this quarter.
Michael Van Drosser at ground level.
Hello. All good. The wind is still kicking up every once in a while, boys.
Tarju straight out of the middle, sends it in towards Curnow. Knocked away from him, Fergus Green. He's tackled and it spills out. Spear clears it out of defence. High ball up and a good mark is taken there for the Dogs by Benaki. Benaki sends the kick out wide to Lynch. It was at his feet. Lynch made it look okay and he chipped it off, found its way into the hands of Johnston. Not a lot of movement further forward of the ball for him. He then just sends the kick looking for McKenna, but he was caught behind and getting in front. Isaac Ruff takes the mark for Sandhurst.
Rough now with the footy. I can't see the Dogs getting up here if they keep playing like this, Jace. Seriously.
No, credit Sandhurst defence as well. I mean, we talked about the midfielders and they get a lot of the credit in, in the articles and the newspaper and everything else, but the Sandhurst defence today has been fantastic.
Dragons just don't need to get sucked in and just go into their shells. Just keep playing the way they are. Long ball inside forward 50. Green was the target. Shoveled out by Hood. Lakey did well. Oh, they're under serious pressure here now. Paul Pratt will pick it up. Still has a snap at goal, but just hurried the kick a little. He just had to take a fraction longer and puts it through for a minor score. Gisborne 34, trail Sandhurst 61, 28 gone third term.
Momentum clearly with Sandhurst. Gisborne needs to really wrestle this back now. Spears had a lot of the footy this quarter, and that's what sort of says how often the ball's been down in the Sandhurst end.
Spear will bring the ball back into play. He'll send it down the poolside wing. Big flight, Connick couldn't take it down. Spilled out to Luxmore, barely called him today. Luxmore, handball over the top and kicked out of bounds on the full by Flynn Lakey. And it will be a Sandhurst free kick centre wing position. The kick was out of bounds on the full. 28 gone third quarter, 34 playing 61.
Umpire will throw it in. Big crowd here enjoying a contest. It's far from over.
It was a contest. It doesn't seem to be that way at the moment.
Not over yet, but Wilkinson now for the Dragons to half forward. Launches it 70 from goal. Dragons, as Jason said, with all the momentum at a stoppage.
Yeah, and it's just, like I've said from the start of the day, it seems to be played on a little bit of Sandhurst terms. It looks like a Sandhurst game when you're here watching, and it's certainly, that's the result on the scoreboard at the moment.
Sexton taps it to Curnow. Hurried kick inside forward 50 now. They're 20 metres out from the boundary line. Maxted, Brown level. Reaper did well. Kicks it, bunts it towards the boundary line. Intercepted by Walsh. Tripped. Umpire let it go. Handball over the top. Now it's up against the boundary line. 50 from goal. Underneath the scoreboard. Dragons in attack. They lead 61 to 34. This third term sponsored by Central Kitchens in Bendigo.
Even those one on three battle Sandhurst are neutralising there around the contest, so they're well on top at the moment.
Reaper takes it out of the ruck and just sends it forward. Scanlon, I should say. Scanlon sends it down the line. No mark taken. Spills to ground on the poolside wing. Crowd's starting to get heavily involved in this game. Looks like it's all happening over on the netball courts at the moment. We'll get Michael with a score update from the netball in a moment. Sandhurst work it forward. And the kick will just bounce over everyone's head and go out of bounds for a boundary throw in.
Yeah, boys, 42 to 40 it is. Gisborne's way over Kangaroo Flat. It was Kangaroo Flat leading for the last little while, but it is Gisborne with a 2-goal lead at the moment over on the netball court.
Do you sense, you're near the, I'll get back to you in a minute, you're near the Gisborne bench. Do you sense any nervousness down there?
Nothing really at the moment, but we'll see how things transpire if this one goes through.
Well, Coughlin puts it around the body, top of the square. Wharton is lurking. He's dangerous if he can get on his left. 35 out, directly in front. So's this man dangerous. Green, a little give to Smith. Smith, another little give. Walsh got his hands on the football. Dylan Johnson emerges. A long left footer for the Dogs, and it might be only temporary. Well, it's not.
Well, it's a good mark taken. In the end, it was rather late from Dennehy. I thought Wilkinson had a fair percentage of that, but he sends it wide. Comes out now through McKenna. McKenna's got it to a teammate whose kick was rather awkward down the line. Sandhurst will clear it up. Burke dropped the mark and should have taken, which just invited an intercept run from Wilkinson. He steps around the man, then he gets it further forward and he handballs it towards the boundary line. Stayed in play for Curnow, who's assisted over by Pat McKenna. Will have a boundary throw in.
34 playing 61. Dragons in control. 31 minutes have ticked over in this third term. They've got it across half forward. They're looking for another goal before three-quarter time. The ball won't get out. In fact, it goes over the line again, and it will be another stoppage. 70 from home. Bit of noise in the netball going on, so we'll keep those scores coming through, Michael, as they come to hand. Umpire will throw it in. It'll be Sexton in the ruck against Scanlon. He's been a good addition, Scanlon, but he probably needs to lift as well. A lot of players around this ball. Ainsworth emerges for the Dogs. Kicks it 30 metres down the line. The ball is still in play. Smith, hands and knees. Lakey involved. Burke as well. Handballs it forward to Dennehy. Umpire's letting it go. Good umpiring. Now it's the Dragons. Turnover through Walsh. Walsh will go inside forward 50 to the back of the two players. Spear ended up with the Bulldogs and will mop up.
And he does. He just puts it out in the direction of Johnson, but probably will get to the front. So Simon will stand up. Quarter absolutely dominated by Sandhurst. And it's just got that feeling that Sandhurst are very, very close to lifting the cup again, which we've already seen twice today. Three-quarter time at the QEO. It's Sandhurst 9-7-61 to Gisborne 5-4-34. The final quarter on grand final day to come. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Ground level, Michael Van Dorsler.
Thanks, guys. There's 4 to 5 words on the whiteboard for Sandhurst, and they're still in their huddle at the moment. All it was contest, discipline, tackle, run. That's all they're looking for. They know they're about half an hour away from lifting that Premiership Cup. I'll tell you what, the Gisborne huddle in that three-quarter time break was so tight you could not even hear the coach and the coaching staff, but they were so tight, barely a word said in anger, and someone did turn around and say, he just said, if you take a backward step now, you will regret it for the rest of your life. So he's imploring his charges to go as far forward as possible in this last quarter. And the wind is still going towards the scoreboard, in my opinion. It's not really favouring a side in that specific way, but it is obviously going to the right of your dial. And it's gusting here or there as well. So if you can get it on a good time, I think Sandhurst will be able to kick a goal here and there. But Gisborne definitely going towards that scoreboard end. Boys?
That's the end they need to score, and they're going to need to kick at least 5 goals to win it in this final quarter. They've only kicked 5 for the day, so it is all against them. But we know that Gisborne will throw full caution to the wind, as it's starting to boil over a little bit in the middle here. Looks like McLean and Benaki going at it. The final quarter of the 2024 grand final, the final quarter of the season. It's the final half an hour before we know who will be crowned premiers in 2024. Will it be Sandhurst? Will it be Gisborne? Sandhurst have certainly got one hand on it, but can Gisborne have something to say in this final quarter? Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo to get the final quarter underway. Here's John Hunter.
Don't go anywhere if you're at home, in the shed, by the fire, in the car. It promises to be a big 30 minutes. A proud club, Gisborne. Will that extra week rest that they had work against them? Umpire puts the ball in the air. It's with the Dragons at the moment, who lead 61-34. Umpire will throw it up. Blake wins it for the Dogs. Running on it will be Benaki. Handball to Jed Dennehy. Dennehy, a 60-metre ball. Inside forward 50. McKenna probably could have marked it and didn't. Rough mops up for the Dragons. Kicks around the body. Bouncing ball. Wright did well to disguise it and put it over the boundary line for a ball in. Right in front of us, broadcast side. 70 metres out from the Dogs' goal. 61 Sandhurst, 34 Dogs. 24 seconds gone. Final term. Grand final football lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Michael Van Drosser at ground level.
Just quickly wanted to let you guys know the A-grade netball went the way of Gisborne. They ran over the top of K Flat, 43-41. Sorry, Jason.
There you go, throwing jibes at you there on ground level is Michael Van Dorser. So Gisborne have got the A-grade netball flag. It will be Benaki that will send them inside forward 50. So they won't go home empty-handed today, the Gisborne Bulldogs. Can they get the footy as well? He's kick inside forward 50, looking for James Gray. Just didn't quite get to him, and it goes out of bounds for a boundary throw in. And I tell you what, for the amount of times we've seen these off-the-field pushes paid today, they're still persisting with it both sides, Jason.
It's a grand final. I think there's heightened emotions out there that spills over into the occasional undisciplined.
So throw in, boundary side. You'd hate to give away a goal from something like that in the last quarter of the game. Tarju handball out. Maxted's kick smothered. Knock forward for the Dogs. Going through to with Dennehy. Dennehy gave it to Lakey. Lakey bends the ball back around on his right and kicks the first goal of the final quarter. And it's game on at the QEO. And Gisborne get the first of the final quarter. They move along now to 6-4-40, 21 points behind Sandhurst, 9-7-61. Score sponsor, Daily Bricklaying and Construction. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
There's not a heap of changes that Gisborne have made in this quarter. It looks like they've just gone back and actually said, okay, boys, this is we know how we can play. Let's throw caution to the wind here and try and bring it back and play a bit of Gisborne footy. But no positional structure changes that I can see that are major.
Might have been McKenna that gave that footy that caused the goal. But, back in the middle, they'll look to get another one, as it will be another stoppage. The ball moves 2 metres forward of centre in the direction of goal City end, which Gisborne are attacking. Blake wins the tap. Wouldn't it be interesting that they get a quick goal here? They'll win it through Bell Bartels, out of the middle, around the body. Didn't really look in the area. Bounces. It'll be Johnson for the Dogs. Tackles Maxted. Let Maxted take possession of the football, which was smart, and then tackled him at 49 metres from goal. Dogs in attack. 21-point margin. Dragons lead. 3 minutes last turn.
It's up forward by Dennehy. Can he have a 5-minute burst like he did last week? It's taken by the Dogs. It's Matt Merritt. It's the goal to the Gisborne Bulldogs. And they are back within 15 points. Who said this game was over? 7-4-61 are the Gisborne Bulldogs. They trail this game by 15. 9-7-61 Sandhurst. 3 minutes gone in the final quarter. They've already kicked 2. Score sponsor, JB Reese stumping. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
You're writing a script from the Gisborne perspective. You want 2 goals early in the contest in the fourth quarter. They've got 2 inside 3 minutes. Game on, boys. Game on.
It's like Bryce Kerno's going to plug a hole in the back line as well, Jason.
It does.
Back in the middle it goes. Blake wins the tap for the Dogs. Winning it through the middle will be Jake McLean for the Dragons. Puts it to half forward. Getting his hands on the football was Green. Couldn't win possession. The ball spills wide. Spear punches it. No clear winner. Ureta, ground level. Did well. Might have been held without the footy. Umpire lets it go. Benaki gets one too high. Free kick, defensive side of the centre wing.
So he'll work it down the poolside wing. That's a beautiful kick, and charging out, marking it on his chest, is Pat McKenna. Pat McKenna's got it. Centre wing for Gisborne. He can send it inside forward 50. He'll go with the shorter option. Mark taken with Burke, who handballs off to McKenna. McKenna then sends it in, but it's a kick, and there is absolutely no one home except for Kobe Maxton, who takes a relatively easy, uncontested mark in the goal square and goes with a short pass to Noah Walsh.
Maxted also behind the ball. Sandhurst don't want to go too defensive. I know they were trying to stop momentum, but you don't want to go too defensive too early.
Don't close up. Just keep playing the way you're winning the footy. It's a launch ball there by Walsh. Good punch. Getting involved, guess who? Reaper.
Boys, isn't that what happened last week? Did Strathfield say go too defensive too early? Do you think?
1,000,000% they did. They went against the style of footy that they had been playing for the previous 3 quarters, Just, didn't they?
They did, yeah, they did. They bottled it up really well and then probably threw blokes too far behind the footy. But, yeah, it was just a bit of a watch to see how Sandhurst responds here.
Cross half forward now. Dogs. Boy, oh boy, wouldn't it be interesting if they got it inside forward 50 and got another one quickly. As it won't happen on this occasion, it will be another ball in at the side. 70 from goal. Dogs in attack. 46 playing 61. Sandhurst lead. Almost 6 minutes gone. Final turn.
Throw in. Up the right end of the ground if you're a team in the red, a fan of the team in the red, white and blue. Spear. Kicked it forward. Tarju claims the mark, but I'm not sure that was his first hands on it, but he then went to ground afterwards, so Tarju's going to receive the ball. Place underneath the scoreboard. QEO, 46 playing 61. He then just sends a high ball back down the line. They come from all directions to get a hand on it. It spills forward for the Dogs. They handball off to Benaki. He sold some candy. Then he gave it off to Bell Bartels. Bell Bartels hits the pocket. No one home. And we'll have a boundary throw in underneath the scoreboard. All happening here at the QEO. 46 playing 61, 6 minutes gone in the final quarter.
Nervous energy starting to surround the QEO now, particularly if we get a goal on the board. Blake, has he got space? Little handball out. Cardillo getting involved. Hands it off. It'll be a long shot at goal. And it goes wide. It might even be out of bounds on the full. Ireland doesn't muck around. Goes dangerously into the corridor. Top of the defensive square to Maxted. Maxted now. It's almost as if he's kicking out from fullback now. He'll bring a broadcast side. Holds up in the breeze. Smith is at the back of the pack. Got caught behind. Now it is a stoppage. Whistle blows. 51 from home. Dogs still in attack to the city end. 46 playing 61. Dogs trail.
Umpire Carter throws the ball in the air. Blake knocks it forward. It bounces backwards. Tarju to Walsh. Walsh is clever to go backwards looking for Wilkinson. It came to Smith and Smith kicked it out of bounds on the full, surely.
No, it bounced before then.
It went out of bounds on the full.
I don't reckon it. I reckon it bounced before the line. What do you think, Jason? You can be the adjudicator.
The boundary umpire was around the wrong side to see it, clearly, but I reckon from our position it might have gone on the full.
I'm not entirely sure.
It was a low kick out of there. Anyway, we'll throw it in. Blake knocks it back inside. Tarju and Cadillo, good pick up by Johnson. Fired the handball through. Bell Bartel's got it going forwards. It'll bounce at the top of the goal square. Taken out of there. No one able to take any real clean possession. They all just pile on top of it. Umpire Norton is circling and he crosses his arms and says, give it to me. I'll ball it up inside forward 50.
Umpire's under pressure as well, as are the players. Sexton wins it for the Dragons. Whistle. Dragons will get a free kick deep in the defensive area. Tardrew, he'll go across the face of his defensive goal to his almost look-alike in Ireland. Ireland now looking to bring it down swimming pool side. It's a long ball to the back of the pack. Merritt for the Dogs. Taps it forward, keeps it in play. But coming in, offering support for the Dragons' perspective, puts it over the line. It'll be McLean and we'll have a ball in. 15-point margin. Dragons lead. Nearly 9 minutes gone. Final turn.
Sizable crowd in attendance as well. McKenna handballs it inside forward 50. Tarju gets it. He'll be tackled by Cardillo. Just got it off to Wilkinson. Wilkinson to Walsh, who just quickly hurries the kick out of there. It comes back though the other way via a punch. Now it spills to ground level. Benaki's at the bottom of the pack. Merritt tries to emerge with it. He's taken straight away. We'll have another ball up 60 out from goal.
So it's like a game of chess at the moment. It's been played predominantly in the Dogs' forward zone. It'll spill to the boundary line and it will be another ball in 70 from home. And it's just a lull in play here.
The territory battle certainly with Gisborne, isn't it? So from a Sandhurst perspective, you'd much prefer the ball to be at the other end of the ground.
Umpire will throw it in. Scanlon doing the ruck work for the Dogs. Ground level, Ureta kicked it over his head while he was laying on the ground. Wasn't quite like Joel Wharton last week, but similar type scenario. Ainsworth, little handball to a teammate for the Dogs. It's a fumble. Now it goes to the boundary line. Good defensive play. Dragons sees it over the boundary line. And each one of these stoppages is a good result for the Dragons.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's actually, especially a stoppage that's up there on the wing. It's on the wing. It's a good result with the numbers back behind the footy.
Boys, the physios are working overtime down here on the boundary too, making sure calves are rubbed out and making sure hamstrings are right to go for the last 10 or so minutes.
Yeah, big say in the end of who has fit players out there in the last few minutes. It's been a relatively warm day. It's starting to cool down a bit now at the QEO. Ball up on the poolside wing. Knocked to ground level. Benaki picked it up cleanly, then just fired it towards centre half forward. Max Zed comes from behind to make the contest. Knocked it to ground level where Ireland picked it up. Ireland was taken and he's been pinned holding the ball. Harry Luxmore receives the free kick. Hasn't really been his day, but Harry Luxmore, but he has an opportunity to stand up. He's kicked 58 goals this year, and why does we say that he just hits it into the pocket to absolutely no one?
No, there was a ghost out there. There was nobody else. So
Lynch was kind of in the air and he didn't bother going anywhere near him.
Yeah, so 20 metres away from Lynch, wasn't it?
Underneath the scoreboard, the ball will be thrown back into play.
Umpire will throw it in. Up they go. The crowd are getting restless. Scanlon wins the tap to the back of the pack for the Dogs. Merritt tries to run onto it and find a path. He hit the pack at pace, but good defensive play. Dragons will have another ball up, Jace.
We're getting a lot of them, aren't we?
35 from home. Dogs in attack. Scanlon doing the ruck work. Did well. Tried to put it in the path of Lord. Hurried kick out of the pack from the Dragons. Will it be insufficient at 10? And it is a call for ball at end, son.
I've been on that one all year, have I not?
You have. You still haven't learnt your lesson. Cross half forward now.
I didn't say anything.
No, you didn't. You didn't have to. I could sense the anger brewing. 11 and a half minutes gone. Final term, 15-point margin, Dragons.
I actually thought the way Johnny Norton ran out there, I thought he was going to call it to begin with there.
He had the drama going, didn't he?
Absolutely, he did. Knocked down, Coghlan taken into Macklin, Ward tackle. Umpire across his arms, says, I'll board up. The crowd is getting involved in this game. A big crowd around the QEO here. A lot of people still over in front of the netball courts as well. That's where we find the ball position at the moment. We'll have another ball in, so we'll try it again. 12 minutes gone. They've kicked 2 goals in this quarter, Gisborne. They needed to kick 5 to win it without Sandhurst scoring. Still plenty of time if they're good enough. We sense the ball's going to spend a lot more time down this end of the ground. Scanlon in the ruck. Won it down. Knocked forward. Free picked it up for Sandhurst, and then he just heaved it out of there, but it's going to be turned over to Scanlon. In fact, it's Reaper. Reaper will then send it inside forward 50. It spills out the back of Dennehy. Wright will be first back there for the Dragons. He'll handball to Maxted. Maxted will go back to Wright. Luxmore might have got a partial smother in there, and we'll get a boundary throw in just inside forward 50. Gisborne in attack.
If the Dragons had it inside forward 50 in this final term,
I don't believe they have.
I don't think they have either. 15-point margin. Inside forward 50 for the Dogs. Hard up against the boundary. 49 from goal. Umpire will throw it in. Scanlon doing the ruck work. Tried to tap it into the corridor. Stagg goes over the top for the Dragons. Locks it in. And it will be another stoppage. Lord at the bottom of the pack asking for a free kick. But there'll be no easy free kicks, you'd hope, in this last 10 minutes or so of this grand final. Scanlon involved. Banaki spins. Then he'll put it into the path of a teammate running to the outer side, which will be McKenna. Awkward bounce. Ruff did well. He tapped the footy. Will he disguise it towards the boundary line? Ruff wins that contest, I reckon. It's about winning the small contest, and he did on that occasion.
Yeah, it is, and it's just, those Sandhurst backs, like I said earlier, have been fantastic all day. So they've got another 20-odd minutes here to continue to stand up for them to get the result.
Throw in, 50 out from goal. 1 down, Scanlon. Macklin Lord handball, just missed its intended target, but Jed Dennehy's able to go backwards. He'll get it off to Reaper. Reaper will then send it inside forward 50. It's a mark taken inside forward 50. And it's Harry Luxmore, I reckon, who's hardly been sighted today. But he has the chance to go back, 25 out, directly in front, and bring it back to a single-digit margin.
They're going to hit this one better than the last shot, or the last pass.
Pressure.
It hasn't been his day, but he has a chance to make all that not count for anything. Harry Luxmore, 25 out directly in front. Stats it, but he kicks the goal. 8-4-52, plays 9-7-61. Score sponsor Bendigo City Framers. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. And here come the Bulldogs.
Yeah, you're right, Cam. They are coming. They're coming really hard. And it's just a territory game, isn't it? So footy at the moment is momentum and territory, and both those things are in Gisborne's favour. So hang in, 9 points the difference, 15 minutes to go. Big last quarter.
Dragons need to do what they did best for 3 quarters. I sense they've gone into their shells a bit, Jace.
Yeah, it feels that way.
Umpire Carter throws it in the air. Blake wins it, puts it down the throat of Lord. Lord of the Dogs runs his measure. He'll go inside forward 50. He'll be looking for McKenna. Got caught behind. Maxted floats in front of the pack. He'll just spread it wide now. Gives it to Smith.
That he does. Cooper Smith. Kobe Maxted definitely playing as the loose player in defence for Sandhurst. He'll get the kick back from Smith, and then he'll switch it out to the far side underneath the scoreboard for Ruff. Ruff gets it and runs his allotment before chipping a kick down the line. It wasn't his greatest kick, but it's picked up by the Dragons through Mills. Mills on the right. He hit it off the side of the boot, but it might work out okay. Connick got it, gave it to Eureka. Eureka to Coughlin. James Coughlin will have a bounce. He'll then send it inside forward 50. Big moment for this one. Take an absolute specky. And the mark's been paid. Not sure how much he had of it, but he got a ride, did Fergus Green, and he took the grab. And this will be a massive blow in Gisborne's comeback pursuit. 30 out, directly in front.
I think you get points for the fly. I'm not sure he held it all the way down, but it certainly was a good pack.
Well, Gary Ablett got paid a mark, one mark of the year.
Yeah.
I reckon he had enough of it. Give him the drama.
Two shots on goal for Fergus Green. One behind, one out of bounds on the full. Kenny kicked one in the final quarter on the right, directly in front, and that is an absolute shank. He hangs it to the left, and I tell you what, if that doesn't make the Gisborne supporters that little bit more, the Sandhurst supporters a little bit more nervous, then I don't know what will. Spear will bring the ball back into play. It's a 10-point margin, 17 gone final quarter.
Plays on for the Dogs. Kicks it beyond 50. Looks broadcast side. Jed Dennehy takes a nice contested mark in front. Short pass forward 30 metres. Hits Dylan Johnson of the Dogs. Defensive side of centre wing. 15 metres in from the boundary line. Broadcast side. Kicks it forward. Poor kick. Put Lynch under pressure. Wilkinson did well. Lynch was very good. By hand. Tried to give it to Johnson. Another turnover. Turnover after turnover again. Pressure moment. And the boundary line wins just momentarily, and we'll have a ball in 10-point margin. The Gisborne Bulldogs trail.
Those turnovers are going to continue to come. Gisborne need to keep the ball in motion, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. And naturally, when you're doing that, you're going to get a few errors that come.
Curnow into the ruck. Against Blake. Blake will get there first. He'll double fist it down to Lakey. Lakey handballed it into his own head somehow. Coughlin gets it around the body, sends it towards Green. Diving in, couldn't quite take the mark. It spills out to Eureka. Eureka will send it inside forward 50, looking for Joel Wharton, but it should bounce favourably for Gisborne. Tracking back after it for the Dogs will be Shapano. He's going to knock it towards the boundary line. He has a teammate over there, and they're happy to see it over. That's probably a win, I reckon, for Gisborne. Out of bounds, but we're just slowly starting to get to where the time will become their enemy, Johnny. It's a 10-point lead, 18 minutes gone in the last quarter of the season for 2024.
Dragons in attack. You reckon it might snuff out the Dogs if they can hit the scoreboard. Walsh gets the footy of the Dragons. Awkward ball. It goes high. Green was the target. Spear mopped up quickly for the Dogs. Send it long beyond 50. The bounce is awkward. Connick taps it towards the boundary line. And on the true centre wing position, swimming pool side, we'll have a ball in. We're just about to hit red time. A 10-point margin, Dragons lead.
Quickly thrown in. Blake got there first, won it down. Curnow lays a strong tackle. Umpire crosses his arms, says, I'll ball it up. Player Jack Anderson. Balls it up. Emerging with the footy will be the Dogs. And a free kick for a high tackle is going to go the way of Brad Benaki. So free kick Benaki. This will give Gisborne a chance to send it up towards centre half forward. McKenna comes diving in, couldn't quite take the mark. The kick was at his ankles. And he slides over the boundary line, ball in hand. Boundary throw in 55 metres out from goal. We're just about to hit that 20th minute, and they still trail by 10 points.
A 2-kick margin. Blake taps it nicely. Spear was his target. Lakey was there as well. They'll turn it over. Green, handball forward. Walsh getting involved. Handball. Oh, it's all right. Eureka has come to... It's a fresh airy. You'd be counted as a shot if you're playing golf.
Gets a free kick for Heights.
And gets a free kick. Eureka now. Outer side wing. Short pass, 20 metres. Spreads it further wide to Connick. Connick now, who's been good this afternoon, hard up against the boundary line. True centre wing position, swimming pool side, long kick forward. They'll set themselves in the pack. It's a mark that's been claimed, and the mark has been taken by Ryan Burke of the Dogs.
So he quickly plays on. He'll send it down the pool side wing. Ball gets to the back of the pack. Connick will be first back, but it'll also get over the boundary line. Plenty of people. I wouldn't imagine anyone's left just yet from this game. 10 points, 20 minutes gone. There probably is another 10 minutes to go in this one. The last quarter went for 33 minutes, Johnny. So
a lot of goals, a lot of
time
stoppages, though. Yes, you're
in
right.
this quarter. Kerno gets the clearance, sends it up the line, straight to Liam Spear. Spear handballs over his head. Missed the handball, but they'll come and clear it up. It'll be Normington back to Spear. Spear gets to Gray, who was going back with the flight of the ball. And Jared Lynch, I should say, takes the mark. He'll then clear the kick out wide. It bounces off the chest of Shapano, but Dennehy's there to recover it. He can give the handball, decides to go with a kick even further forward, and it's a downfield free kick. What's going on here?
Played it against Frank Shapano from behind the play, and for a shepherd that was on Wharton, in my opinion. I don't believe that was high at all. I think that's pretty stiff.
So Joel Wharton's going to receive a free kick. Not sure what's going on there, but that has really deflated the things here at the QEO. So Wharton will send it inside forward 50. Goes looking for Tarju. Spills to the front of the pack. McLean will see it over the boundary line. Did you see what happened down there at ground level, Michael?
Yeah, I did. It was a shepherd that came above the shoulder, and that's why the doctor went running out there to check on him, just to make sure he's okay. So the ball, the shepherd came up over the shoulder, and that was a free kick against.
Umpire throws it in now. Normington wins it. Shapano getting involved, and Reaper. Reaper will kick it long to the wing now. Wilkinson, did he try to claim a mark? And it will be no free kick, it'll be a stoppage. So on true centre wing, broadcast side, in front of a big crowd, with there's big crowds on both sides wings, to be honest. Blake wins the tap. He tapped it straight to Coglan of the Dragons, but that was a turnover. It was a short kick, 15 metres. Jed Dennehy now looks to go dangerously corridor. It might come off. Spear in fact, it might have been smothered. Spear tries to claim a mark, but just forward of the centre, in attack, Sandhurst will have a ball up.
Got to take some risks, but I'm not sure that's one.
I reckon the way the ball spun, it was definitely off hands. As Tarju gets it, handballs to Carraher, time ticks away, inside forward 50 they go. Eureka at the front of the pack, they knock it forward, the Dragons. It'll come to Green. Green will fire at goalwards, and Fergus Green kicks the goal that may just see the premiership come to Sandhurst. And he's taken off like he's a horse running down the last 100 metres at the straight at Caulfield on a Saturday afternoon. They won't catch him. And it is 10-8, 68 to 8-4, 52. There was 23 minutes gone in the final quarter. Score sponsor Parsons Towings in Castlemaine.
I'm not sure I'm prepared to call it yet, Cam. I think that ball back in the middle is actually going to give Gisborne an opportunity here to take it forward again. So Sandhurst has been able to maintain the ball in their forward 50 there. I think that's in a good spot.
It's out to a 3-kick margin, though. We're at 24 minutes in the final term. Lord will win it for the Dogs out of the middle. It'll go inside forward 50 now. Good defensive work, Dragons. They were always going to kill that footy. Island at the bottom of the pack. And 40 from goal. Gisborne in attack. Trail 52 to 68. 24 minutes gone. Final term. Grand final footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Throw in. Merritt charges through. Coglan's at the bottom of the pack. Umpire crosses his arms and says, I'll ball it up. I reckon they might have just about done enough, Jace.
I think so.
Knock down Dennehy. Free kick is going to go the way of Gisborne.
Take that back. That's a big free kick. A score out of this opportunity.
Didn't see what it was for, but it's been given off to Macklin Lord. He'll then send it inside forward 50, and McKenna comes out and marks on the chest. He'll go back 40 out, not too much of an angle to deal with. Almost in line with that right-hand goalpost on a 45-degree angle, Johnny. But a player of Pat McKenna's calibre, he's already got 2. 62 goals on the year. He'll still go through his full routine before going back to make things rather interesting here at the QEO. McKenna's a good kick for goal, and he puts it through. Wow, 10 points the difference. And there's probably still a couple of minutes left in this game. About 6 minutes, I reckon, to go in this game. Score sponsor, Parsons Towings, Castlemaine. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
6 minutes, an eternity in the modern game, Cam. I think this is well and truly game on. And this quarter in particular, Gisborne's had a fair bit of dominance around the stoppages. So being back in the middle gives them every opportunity to move it forward again.
26 minutes gone, final term.
For what it's worth, boys, the Red Dragon sign's gone up too at the Dragons bench.
I bet it has. As it will be Lord again. Wins it through the middle for the Dogs. It was a poor kick. Lockie Hood marks it on the chest, 45 from the goal he's defending. He'll spread it wide towards the boundary line and hit Maxted. Maxted still in the defensive arc. Underneath the scoreboard that reads his team winning by 10 points. Short pass forward, 25 metres, not even to Walsh. Walsh of the Dragons, still in his defensive zone. Now he'll put it down the... poor kick, might be a turnover. Burke dropped a mark he should have taken for the Dogs. Still 70 from home. Ground level, 3 dives in after the footy for the Dragons. And we will have a ball up with a 10-point margin. Dragons lead.
Need one in the next 2 minutes. The Bulldogs are going to be any shot.
High Norton throws the ball in the air. Knocked forward. Macklin Lord handball in. Tarju's got it taken by Cardillo straight away. Ball hits the bottom of the pack, and you can sometimes so often see those ones when Tarju was just grabbing hold of that footy. Didn't look like he was trying everything to get it out. Umpire quickly throws the ball up in the air. It's taken away, and Brad Blake has just kicked it out of bounds on the full, so that takes away all momentum that they had. And he's just put it out of bounds on the full, so Sandhurst will bring the ball back into play. It looks like it'll go to Harrison Free, who's been one of their better ball users.
He has. He's a good player, Harrison Free. I like him up back. Not a tall, overly tall player, but defensively very good. Free now. He even kicked a goal in the third term as well. It's a long ball with beyond 50. Green tried to claim it for the Dragons, but it was Blake now for the Dogs. High, awkward ball, inside forward 50. They hit the pack. A lot of players in front of, well, they should have a goalkeeper on the line, the Dragons, you would think, wouldn't you, Jace?
I would like one back on the line, especially when you've got extra number back.
Everything has to go right now for Gisborne. Inside forward 50, knocked down. Merritt, taken by a swarm of Dragons. Umpire Carter quickly crosses the arms and says, I'll ball it up.
Boys, I reckon that goalkeeper you're looking for is probably Bryce Curnow, but he's actually on the bench at the moment, which is unbelievable for this situation.
It's a big call you've made that Bryce Curnow is on the bench for the dying minutes. Blakey got it backwards. They paddle it forward, the Dogs. They couldn't quite take it cleanly. They do everything to keep it going forward. Eureka gets it and sends it towards the boundary line. Jed Dennehy will be first one there. He'll clean it up and then he'll slip over and he'll be assisted over the boundary line by Noah Walsh. And looking in the middle of the ground as well, looks like Lockie Wright is down. Might be just a little bit of cramp.
It's been very, very good today, Lockie Wright, so he's probably bound to get the cramp.
Don't give the coach an excuse to take her off in the last minute of the grand final when you're just about to win it. Well, are they? That's the question now. Dylan Johnson tried to make a path for the Dogs on the right half forward.
Hey, that ball in, boys, was helpful for Sandhurst. Curnow was able to get back on the field there, and he's up against the captain in Reaper.
Good call, coach, down at the boundary line. Lakey, handball over the top. Benaki, clever, gives it to Lynch with a tap. Shallow inside forward 50. Saving mark by Jones. Smith, rather. Jones. Smith and Jones here kind of different, aren't they, Cameron?
Yeah, if you were watching Stratford, that would be Cooper Jones.
It would be. Smith. That's right. Smith now.
He's been given a lot of time to get this footy going.
He does now. Kicks it long. I'll set themselves. Good punch from behind defensively, Cardillo. Boundary line beckons. We'll have another ball in. 10 points is still at margin. Sandhurst lead. Almost 30 minutes in this final term. I'm just about to call it, Jason, I reckon. Just about.
Yeah, there can't be long to go. Blake will then surge it forward. Scrappiness as they all dive on top of it. Umpire crosses his arms again. 10 points the difference. 30 minutes have just ticked over in the final quarter. There can't be long left. It's got to go perfectly for the Dogs. Blake takes it out of the ruck. Handball forward. Here's a chance for Macklin Lord. Didn't sit for him. Cooper Smith handball. Missed Darcy Mills. Reaper came out. Curnow on the ground will just clear the kick and it'll end up into the chest of Dayton Eureka. And that's why you have players like Bryce Curnow on the ground in these situations. It was well called by Michael Van Drosser before. Although the kick from Eureka put a little bit of pressure on its intended target. And Nick Stagg will be at the bottom of the pack being tackled. He'll take his time getting up. In fact, it's Harrison Free at the bottom of the pack. So ball up right in front of us, broadcast position. Gisborne have to score off this stoppage.
Umpire Norton throws it in the air. Blake, one-handed, grabbed it out, slammed it on the boot, put it shallow inside forward 50. Jake McLean, going to be pinged. Brave call by umpire Johnny Norton.
Who was there?
So he can't muck around. Free kick is with James Gray. He's kicked how many goals on the season? 10. 10 goals. James Gray kicks a goal right on the 31-minute and 20-second mark. Scoreboard sponsor Don Smallgoods is Don is good. We're under a kick now. It is Gisborne 10-4-64, 10-8-68 Dragons, 4-point margin.
Sandhurst have had 2 extra players back behind the ball. I think they need to get an extra 3 at least back behind the ball now to actually stop this momentum. Big centre stoppage here.
There can't be long to go.
I understand this at just under 2 minutes, boys.
Here we go. Noah Walsh will win the clearance for the Dragons. He'll fire it wide, but the only player out there will be Spear. Spear gets it. He'll send it down the pool side wing. Needs someone to fly. Curnow might have fisted his own teammate going for the ball. It'll bounce towards the boundary line. They keep it alive. Lakey takes it across the boundary line. Boundary throw in, centre wing position. As we tick down, and it is well and truly game on. Who will win the premiership? We just do not know, Johnny Hunter.
It's on the wing, 4-point margin. Sandhurst lead, 32 minutes and 30 seconds in this grand final. Stoppage, ball up, suits Sandhurst. Just marginally forward of centre wing, left half forward. A good 2 kicks from goal for the Dogs. Johnson will win it for the Dogs. It's a long kick. High ball, inside forward 50. They hit the pack. Brown level. They're calling for a free kick, Dogs. Won't get it. Stoppage, inside forward 50. Dogs in attack.
Geez, you're not going to have an umpire call a free kick in that situation, I wouldn't reckon. Everyone's nervous here at the QEO. Crowds are going wild. There can't be long to go. Free kick going the way of Sandhurst. But Sexton's free kick. He won the hit out. So Sexton receives a free kick for a ruck infringement in the last line of defence. In what might be the last minute of the game. He'll wheel the kick down the pool side wing. Big mark taken. Fergus Green on the wing. That's a big moment in the grand final. Fergus Green will just go backwards to Curnow.
He goes back 30.
And I reckon they're just going to run the clock down.
In his defensive zone. Curnow, 20-metre kick forward. Hits Ureta. Ureta, don't worry about your calf now, son. He's had a big moment. He's had a big quarter. He's on half-back, hard up against the boundary line. It's true centre wing. Swimming pool side. Big pack of players. The Dragons win the flag by 4 points, 68-64. The ball was on true centre wing, and have a look at him go, Jason Stevens.
Yeah, it's fantastic moment for a Sandhurst supporter and player. That's a cracking grand final that we've witnessed, and feel a little bit for the Gisborne boys have thrown everything at it last week.
They've gone absolutely bonkers here at the QEO. They've just let everyone come steaming onto the ground. Have you ever witnessed a grand final like that? They were dead buried. How about the goal that James Gray kicked down here under pressure as well to bring it back to 4 points?
Fantastic game, wasn't it, in the end? That's privileged to be able to sit here and actually be involved in the call, to be honest. It's yeah, great game of footy, and I think one that will go down in Bendigo Footy League history pretty favourably.
Much in three-quarter time, Jace, but has there been a more dominant year from any club across the grades of footy?
From a Sandhurst perspective, probably not, Cam.
Under 18s, reserve, seniors, and I believe they won a few junior premierships as well.
Yeah, multiple junior premierships as well. They're a powerhouse in Bendigo footy, and it looks like it's going to stay that way for quite some time with the junior pathway program that they've got. It's you know, strange things happen, and see how things get pan out.
Michael Van Dossen.
Thanks to the Bendigo from Sandhurst, good day to be alive, number 15, Locke Wright.
Sorry?
We've worked for a long time for this. Thought we did a lot right. Built the second seconds. Bendigo